Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning and happy summertime and all things good to all of you in and out of it. Well, no, I don't care about people out of the Daverhood, but everyone in the Daverhood. Happy, better times to you, I hope, than we've been having for weeks on end here in the Daververse. Oh, I just thought of that. The Daververse. Well, already my wife is commenting, what's wrong with Daververse? That's my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, by the way, who is inviting people to watch this program. It's called Dave's Gone By, and it's our 751st episode of the program. We have been doing it since October. Well, my wife and I have been doing it not that long, but she's I heard you. I say things to she's ignoring me, which is probably for the best. But do not ignore this program. We went on the air in October of 2002 on terrestrial radio, late at night, 11 o'clock for 1 hour, just to mix comedy and culture and sometimes interviews and eccentricity and just whatever popped into my head to create an eclectic, sui generis kind of show. And you can't get more generic than we do here on Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, Joyce, and all of you. So yeah, every week we try and mix it up. We try and have, well, I'll tell you what's going to be on the program today, and then you can decide for yourselves how eclectic it is. For example, we will be going for Greeley crimes and old times, because my wife and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years. And the local newspaper there does a column called Cop Log, which I will tell you about and that we talk about every week on Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We will also have our Wretched Pun of Destiny, and I do apologize for this. It's a play on words that is really egregious and, egregious covers it. It's a short, little, tiny story that ends with a terrible play on words. We call it the Wretched Pun of Destiny, and this one's will be about false teeth. And then we'll have our Today-Yesterday quiz, so I hope my cousins Cynthia and Jeff will be tuning in because they're the folks we generally play against. We have some trivia questions all about today in history, today being June 20th, summertime, and then your job, should you choose to accept it, is to try and answer those questions and beat Cynthia and Jeff to the buzzer. And we will have Dave's Big Dictionary. This is where my wife will very kindly go through a giant dictionary, which I forgot to take out, but it's somewhere over here on the shelves. And it's an old dictionary. She's going to thumb through it, put her finger down somewhere in the book on some word, and then it will be my job to think of something to talk about between 5 and 8 or 10 minutes about that word. I sometimes manage it, and sometimes I go down completely in flames. You just have to watch to see how I do on Dave's Big Dictionary. And what else do we have? We have I apologize for this, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, because as I mentioned, we live in Colorado. We, every week I offer a poem, a short 5 lines would be pretty short unless you're, Allen Ginsberg or something, but 5-line poem all about a place in Colorado, and this particular one is Delta, Colorado for our limerick. And even though we don't have a guest, and even though he's not doing a rabbinical reflection, Rabbi Saul Solomon will be here on the program today, our beloved Rabbi Saul, who was with us back on our very first show, because we keep getting this newspaper here in the 5 towns, and there are 2 newspapers in our locality, all very specifically and deeply about Jewish life and Jewish culture, because it's a very Jewish kind of an area. And this might shock you, but not only am I Jewish, but Rabbi Saul Solomon is Jewish as well. So there's one there's one extremely Jewish paper, and then there's one that's just ever so slightly more secular, although they're both really geared towards the Hasidic and the Orthodox Jewish community. This one is called The Jewish Home. And Rabbi Saul Solomon was thumbing through it the other day, and a lot of thumb work going on for this program. And he's going to page through, he folded down some pages that he will want to share with you all on the program today. So Rabbi Sal Solomon reads the papers. We're going to see how that goes. He's never done this before. He may never do it again. What we are going to do, however, is play our theme song, or our opening, to get the show started properly, improperly. It's called Dave's Gone By. Do not go away.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Well, as I said, here goes the Daverhood every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts Eastern Time. And we call it Dave's Gone By. It all has to do with, as I said, a whole mix of kooky, crazy, sort of fun, sort of eccentric, sort of cultural stuff. If you don't know what to expect, well, stay tuned and you'll find out over the next 3 hours. And of course, we have our archives, all of them, at davesgoneby.com for you to pour through at your leisure. Just be careful when you're pouring because you don't want to make a mess. Well, before we get to all of what we're going to get to, I do want to say that I was not that I wanted to be the kind of famous where I couldn't walk down the street and being unrecognized and ask for autographs and chased down for things and ask for money by people. That kind of fame, although I would greatly desire fame and certainly riches and wealth and all that sort of thing. I always figured the fame would be on my own terms, that the being well known and being everywhere, my face plastered on billboards and such, would be a thrill. It would be a kick, at least for a time being, and I'm old enough that I wouldn't waste it. I wouldn't squander it like a 22-year-old in a big movie who suddenly makes $2 million and blows it all on drugs. I mean, I wouldn't even blow that on Tylenol, because I try not to do any of that. Wouldn't blow it on drink. I'm not a drinker. They're just, I would know what to do with it. I'd buy a house, maybe a business, and there I'd be off. Not that you can buy anything for $2 million anymore. Yeah. What? What happened? Oh, you got locked out? Huh? Oh, yeah. I think I'm still podcasting. We're having a little bit of technical issues here, but point is, I would approach fame on my own terms and kind of know when it was happening. What? I did it my way. And the problem is, I can't hear from there. But
What did you say?
What? Hello? What?
I'm doing 27 things at once here.
I know, but I can barely hear you. I got my bad ear pointing this way. And
give you a second.
okay. So, yeah.
I want to show you this.
Joyce going to show me something on
Look, I
the
posted
computer.
my story. That's what it looks like.
Oh, that looks wonderful.
I'm trying hard here. I got 27 things happening.
So here's the deal, though. I'm not famous, as you well know. I've had a certain level of notoriety in theater circles for a job that I had for a few years, and people know who I am, and I interview celebrities, and Rabbi Sal interviews celebrities on this program, so there's some notoriety in that. But I was astonished. Weren't you astonished also?
Do you want the picture?
Yeah, we can get it ready. Get it ready. Let me lead up to it.
Give me a lead in, David. I'm trying to do 27.
Well, it's a slow lead-in. I'm giving you a chance here to get this prepared for just the right moment. So, and believe me, I'm neither rich nor. I'm working a cruddy day job.
Just be careful.
Nobody knows who I am, to an extent, right?
You're famous.
And yet, this happened. So Joyce and I, even though we've been living in New York,
so it's just these two
for more than a year now. Don't show them yet.
Okay, here. Do you want this one?
Oh my God.
This one. Or
Oh,
this
wait.
one?
That third one, because it shows, well, that's the full picture, but I need the one with all that's okay. That's perfect. It'll probably go dark by the time I show it, but oh my God. And I mentioned that Joyce and I were living in Colorado for a bunch of years. And she still teaches there. Technically, she teaches virtually online, right? And we still have friends in Colorado, a few. So we check in on Colorado occasionally. We like to know what's happening. I mentioned the Greeley Tribune newspaper, from whence we get our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment. So in checking the newspaper, it occurred to me, well, okay, what the hell? The university where I have taught, where my wife teaches, they're saying, oh, we're back in September. Everything until then is online. Everything until then is virtual, but the campus will be open and teachers will be expected to come in and teach, and students will have to physically be there for their classes in Colorado come late August. They will wear masks. They will distance. They will do what they have to do. Which, based on where I currently work now, in a public facility, is almost nothing, especially by September. But they're making big noise about it. It's like, yes, we'll be very safe. We'll have this and temperatures, this and that. But autumn will be open, as it were. We will have it. Because they've canceled a whole bunch. The Greeley Blues Festival, that was canceled. The Greeley Stampede, which happens in July, and which brings some level of money into the town, that was canceled as well. So they've canceled a whole bunch of stuff, obviously, over the past 3-4 months. And it made me think, oh my God, are they even thinking? Are they going to have the tragic audacity of canceling Potato Day? Now understand what happened.
Facebook went black.
Oh, okay. Potato Day, we moved to a place, of all the places on the map in America, there's only less than half a dozen cities or towns that has a day devoted to the humble and beautiful potato, which if you watch the show, you know just how much potatoes mean to me. And I have attended several of the potato days in Greeley. One of them was rained out. One of them I wasn't feeling well, but every other time, in fact, I even volunteered one time to help in this community event, which I say is all about the potato. They say is all about bringing the community together. And
No, they know it's potato. It's about eating potato.
well, it's about showing what Greeley life was like 150 years ago, and so on and so forth. But we know it's about the tater. I even have, and this is one of my most prized possessions, the last one I went to.
I took that from when Pat did.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled I have it. We've got to frame this at some point. There
was
it
framed,
is.
but I think the frame didn't, was too heavy.
It's okay. We can reframe this easily. Friends is the Friends of the Greeley Museum that puts this on.
But when you volunteered, you were unhappy because you couldn't participate fully.
Exactly, yeah. I thought volunteering would be the best part because I was helping and doing all sorts of potato things, and really all it was manning a desk when people were looking for, like, they would come where the hatchet thrower guy was. There's a guy throwing hatchets. And so when he goes to lunch, his station is unmanned. So you kind of have to sit there and not do anything. You don't start to throw hatchets at people. You just say, oh yeah, hatchet thrower guy, he'll be back in 10 minutes. Please circle back here. I mean, and you're sitting there in the hot sun, and basically your reward, since it's volunteer work, is you get a potato. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay the $7 to get in. But this is the last one I went to because we were still living in Greeley at the time. Look how beautiful. Look how magnificent this is. What an important, and we were talking, all of America was talking about Juneteenth yesterday after all the riots and the protests and stuff. Important. I will grant you, Jews take Yom Kippur very seriously. They fast and they go to temple. Christians, my gosh, Christians and Christmas. Man, Christmas is so important to them that they start Christmas in early October. The stores start stocking their stuff. QBC starts selling Christmas crap. I mean, Christmas. All the radio stations are playing Christmas music 24/7. So Christmas is a terribly important day to a certain segment of the population. But I would wager, pardon me, that nothing is as important and beautiful as Centennial Village Museum's sponsored annual Potato Day, where you just walk around with all these people to go through and see how butter was churned back in the day, how enchiladas were made, how Mexican immigrants were coming and dance. I mean, and they had the Buffalo Soldiers, these black soldiers during the Civil War. And thank you very much.
Good. Better.
Much appreciated.
I felt it too just now. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This must
What's
be something in
your
the
speed,
air.
honey? What's your
Sorry. I'm coughing up a potato right as we speak. So, this very, very beautiful, important day, which I've attended, and about six.
You also participated. It's more than just a.
Yeah, I said
To say you attended is like saying I don't know. Cuomo likes to talk on the TV. You know.
Yeah, but here's the deal, folks. About 6 years ago, I thought I achieved a great measure of fame and notoriety when my photo was on the front page of the Greeley Tribune. Now, let me also preface this by saying I've been trying to get into that newspaper since we moved to Colorado. I mean, I'm a published theater critic and entertainment journalist, have been for 30 years now, including just about the highest level you can get of theater journalism in a commercial, rather non-academic format, right? I mean, I worked and ran Playbill.com for a bunch and all these other places. So I'm begging the Greeley Tribune to hire me, even part-time, to write about theater and entertainment. And they've already got a guy who's pretty good. And he volunteers. I don't have to pay him. He just does it so he can get into shows at like Candlelight Dinner Theater and University of Northern Colorado shows. So I've got a guy, God bless him, he's fine, right? So, but then I couldn't get in. And they let me review one show in all the years I was living in Colorado. And it burned my skin, and they wouldn't hire me for any kind of editorial positions. So Greeley Tribune, which is having all sorts of money problems, fine, you want to go down in flames, except keep doing cop log. It's fine by me. Point is, I did make the paper in a big way. Back in, it was either 2000, I don't know, would have been 15 or 16, when Joyce and I attended Potato Day. And since I really celebrate Potato Day, I festooned myself.
You sell, how do you say in English? Like the machete, like the guys wear.
Yes, like the bullets that Pancho Villa would wear. I had these wonderful stuffed potatoes all over me and a beautiful straw potato-y kind of a hat, right?
And children would stop you and say, I want to buy one. Mommy, where can I buy that potato? Like the potato man.
Yeah, and I would say, I would be offended because they wouldn't understand that they were not for sale.
No, you would not share it. You're like.
Well, can you hand me a potato? Sure. This is so important. So imagine
they wouldn't dress like this. They wouldn't dress
they weren't all dressed up with the socks, but imagine me wearing about 15 of these all around my body.
And then tell them how we made the ones out of the stocking, and you wanted a.
Was that the same year?
No, you saw them. They had a wheelbarrow full of potatoes made out of stockings with stuff with like batting.
Yeah.
And eyes were sewn on them, and then you screamed, I want, me want that.
Me
Then the next year, because you were hot from carrying all the potatoes, you had a bandolier of all of the light potatoes, and they were tied to your hat, and people wanted those.
Yeah, people wanted those too. Oh yeah. So when I get into Potato Day,
you get into potatoes.
I get into Potato Day, and the photographer.
And actually, people take pictures of you. When we wait online going in, they think you're part of the event, and people stand and take photos with you.
It's true. Yeah. I was not in any way, except for the 1 year I volunteered. I'm not in any way connected. What? Tell me, what?
We have, remember the lovely woman, she died, but she was the one who, she used to carve profiles, and she did a profile of potato. I saved that.
Yeah, no.
So she actually carved it's like a Victorian age art where I had one from Disneyland where you go sideways and they carve your profile black against white. She did it for potato.
She did.
And
She did the two of us and potato, yeah.
Well, there's a picture of me holding him,
Yeah.
and this child looking at it with glee while this artist is carving this out of construction paper. It was amazing.
When we do Potato Day.
Yeah, we do it.
We do, and I've dressed up in my large potato costume that you've seen
dressed up in every costume.
in our potato news segment. But this one time, the Greeley Tribune sent a photographer, because they always cover Potato Day, and they usually put it on the front page. It's not like the Stampede, but it's a big event in that town.
It's family friendly.
Yes.
It's multicultural. And,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's educational. It's museum based. Like,
There's nothing negative
No.
about it. Nobody's ever gotten botulism from one of the potatoes
No.
that they've
Well,
given it.
sometimes when the petting zoo, they shat all over. They shat a lot.
That was beautiful. That happens.
That's the only problem that I don't think.
Yeah. And as Joyce mentioned, they have a petting zoo. That's reason enough to go anywhere if you have small animals that you can pet. Let's face it. This one year, the Greeley Trib sends not only a reporter, but a photographer to cover the event.
Professional. They all I think Centennial Village always had like staff take pictures, but this guy was like
Yes. Yeah.
he had
This
like
is
a
not
real
connected. This
camera.
wasn't their official.
This
Yeah.
was really like an
This was the
official.
newspaper, and they chose to even interview me about my attendance up because I was festooning potatoes, and take a couple of pictures. And lo and behold, a day later, there I was, and you can go find this online. Honest to gosh, there was my face big on the front page, with my hat, with Joyce placing a potato
I'm
upon
adjusting
me.
them, but you're like a god. You're like
Because they
Superman,
shot from
yeah.
above, so I
Yeah.
really looked like the ultimate potato person, which
Like
was
Superman.
beautiful.
Superman.
And I felt so proud. Sputterman, if you think about it.
Oh,
I felt so joyful to see, and they did a good story too, and they quoted me right. It was they talked to me for like 15 minutes, and they used 2 quotes, which is what newspapers
Because they
always
just didn't
do.
want to promote the event.
No, it should have been a 3,000-word story with
Should have been a whole
1,500 of
issue
those
the paper.
of those words, my quotes about Potato Day. But that was a big moment for me because I made it to the Tribune. I made it to the front page with not only my byline, I didn't get a byline, but I got my name and my face, and Joyce's face was on there too, and a big story about Potato Day with me being a part of it. Does life get better than that? If you crave fame and notoriety, if you want strangers to kind of know who you are, and I wouldn't say respect you, but at least to kind of get an idea, oh, that guy. That's all I want half the time in this world. Wouldn't you know? So this year, Joyce and I are talking about,
Howie Fox
yeah.
gave you a thumbs up.
Thank you, Howie Fox. This year, Joyce and I are wondering, okay, spring was a cluster. Summer's going to be a cluster in terms of anything happening. Restaurants are kind of opening, but you can sit outside, you can't go inside, you can wear a mask. Go to the restaurant. As soon as you sit down, you can take off the mask, but don't turn to the neighbor on your left when you're chewing. I don't know how they're going to manage this, both in New York and even in Colorado, where they're starting this all earlier. But somehow by September or late August, they're going to have all of this figured out. Well, early September is when Potato Day happens, traditionally, for decades in Greeley, Colorado. What are they going to do? Are they going to make it happen, or are they just going to cancel it for safety, even though it is held in Centennial Village? It's a lot of acreage. There's a lot of room for distancing. They could manage it if they keep people out of some of the smaller buildings, or just let in 5 or 8 at a time. Right. So, are they going to cancel it? Let's check. Let's see if Greeley Museums will go through, or is it intending to go through, with Potato Day 2020. So Joyce Googles it on her phone. And she Googles very wisely the words, Potato Day Greeley 2020. And what it brings up is the Greeley Museum's home page, home site, where there's a calendar. And hooray! Potato Day is set for September 12th between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., as it generally is, at Centennial Village Museum. The museum calendar page, the official .gov calendar page for Potato Day in Centennial Village, looks like this. I kid you not. That is me in my large potato costume, holding up 2 baked potatoes that were cooked at a previous Potato Day, with a listing for Potato Day. Here's it in fact, if you bring it up on Google, this is what you get. Yes. The entire family will enjoy a full day of living history demonstrations, toe-tapping musical entertainment, tasty food, and kids' activities. Sink your teeth into a baked potato with your choice of delicious toppings. The event is a major fundraiser for the Friends of the Greeley Museum. And let's not forget this. When you Google Potato Day in Greeley, Colorado, specifically for this coming year's Potato Day, that is the image. I have become the de facto spokesmodel. I am the spokesmodel for Potato Day. Should I be offended?
Oh, good.
Should I ask for compensation of some sort? Because permission was given to take that photograph. And I guess therefore to use it. Yeah. So I am the de facto spokesmodel for Potato Day. And I've noticed since I've been fairly sedentary the last 3 months, I'm looking a bit more like a potato than I ever have. I guess I'm happy about it. Potatoes, the lovely thing is that the potatoes we do have at home are quite proud of their daddy for essentially representing them in a powerful and beautiful way in this upcoming Potato Day, which ironically and kind of sadly, I won't be there for. I feel like I should get on a plane if the planes are flying and somehow get to Greeley and show people, yes, I'm alive. Yes, I'm real. Because it's sort of like looking at some of the old supermodels in 1970s, 1980s Sports Illustrated magazine. They're so perfect and gorgeous, you can't even imagine that they're real people. What were they? Paulina and Ellen McPherson and all those people. It was like, they can't exist in real life. And then you see them without makeup, and they exist in real life. But when you see me, I wonder if there's people in Greeley who are so blinded, so overcome with the magnificence of seeing this, that they're like, no, that can't be real. That's a Greek god come down to celebrate the humble spud. That can't be an actual living person who is now not even in Colorado where he belongs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you about all the fine folks of Greeley and the folks at the Greeley Museum. He lives. I rolled away the rock, which was in the shape of a giant potato, and am reborn, still loving potatoes and wishing I could be there on September 12th, 2020 for the annual Potato Day, for which apparently I am the first thing that comes up when you search the Greeley Museum.
You're also the picture that's affixed to the calendar. So when you look at the Greeley calendar, you're the picture.
Yeah.
Usually it's a small child holding a potato.
Exactly. Or the museum's poster. No. Is yours truly achieving some measure of fame?
You want to be immortalized in your own time.
Yes.
But that's like it's a beautiful thing, honey.
There was a moment when I thought, you know what? I can kill myself now.
Oh, God.
I mean, staying alive for no particular reason at this point.
I also started a watch party. Bobby, Jeffrey, and Jimmy joined.
Well, welcome Bobby, Joey, Jeffrey, Jimmy, and Jim Bob, and
I guess in the watch party,
Bobby Sue.
I get little green dots, which I think means they're in Facebook.
Either that, or you've got the COVID. So I would check on those green dots.
Don't say that, please.
All right. Anyway, by the way, it is.
Now, don't ruin my day just because
Because why? Because I'm famous. I'm famous now. I can do what I want. I can order you around. Go get me something. Go bring me a thing. I don't know. How would I be like an autocratic? I think I would fall into it actually quite easily.
Oh, I think you do it now already.
Oh, really? Do I? Yeah. Okay. No, but if I had a butler, I would love a butler.
I would love a chef.
Okay. Well, my chef would buggle and my buggle would chef.
Give me your hand.
I would get Greg Buggle, in fact, to
That's
you know,
funny.
to play catch with. But the I don't know. I think I would try and be a pleasantly autocratic person, but I would get very used to having somebody do everything for me. Like what was that movie, Arthur, with Dudley Moore? This is worth waiting for, folks. Where he bosses not Ian Richardson, who was it? John Gielgud
I don't know.
around. As a, would you run my buff? Can you do that? I could totally get into that, and I'm going to, as now the famous face of. Oh, this is crushing my head.
I got it it's a children's thing from Cedarhurst.
I realize it's a children's thing from Cedar. Well, ow. What do I have? All microcephalic heads with this. Oh, that's
For
better.
kids for Purim.
Yeah. Wow, I am bolder than ever, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
I
indeed.
fix it.
Here on the Dave's Gone By Facebook podcast.
There you go. See, you don't have to.
Yeah, but this won't stay. This
That's
will
okay.
stay.
Just don't shake your head like you're having a seizure. You're fine.
That's true. Anywho,
I know that's a lot to ask.
let's tilt this to a rakish angle.
Oh, you look handsome. Do you want your cowboy hat with lights?
No, I'm good, but thank you for that.
Are you sure?
Well, on Potato Day, I'll wear it, because that's sort of a very cowboy-y thing. It's 9:30-ish in the morning, Eastern Time, here in the Daverhood with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and wonderful wife, Joyce. Potato is with us, and we are doing the 750...
Potato in the hizzle.
He is. Potato in the
Oh, you
hizzy.
look like Biggie Small there.
Thank you, but I know what you mean, because he wears that little... Yeah. Where was I going with it? So I was reminding you,
Welcoming people.
it's our 751st episode of the show. We're calling it In Sum, because we are now officially in summer, which should make all of us very happy. I mean, the weather, the sunshine, it's summertime and so forth, and things are opening up. And yet there's always, knowing me, there's that little bitty twinge of disappointment and depression that hits me because yesterday or today was the longest day of the year, and I always get into this. Tomorrow is going to be ever so slightly shorter in terms of
Want
sunlight.
me to spray water on your face so it looks like you're crying?
No, then I just have to blot my head. But no, it's sad, because that's one of the things that gets me through winter. When it's December 23rd and 28th or January 5th, right? Days are short. It's usually cold. All this, no holidays to look forward to until February. And then you realize, wait a minute, the sunshine is just going to stay out a little bit longer today than the day before. So yesterday it got dark at 4:40, and today, it's 4:41. There's this level of hope, and you realize that you're moving closer and closer and closer towards the other equinox, towards springtime and summer. But then you get to this day, this first day of summer, and it's like, in 2 weeks from now, it's not going to stay light out until 8:30 anymore. It's going to stay light out until 8:16, and then 8:04, and then 7:50, and then somehow, and the clocks change, and we're back down to 4:30. So is it me or summer one of the most depressing days that's out there? Because it's the culmination. It's sort of like, what's that proverb? We actually heard someone quote it on a show the other day. It's like,
Don't scratch your nuts.
that too. The best thing about life
Wait, somebody
is,
hold on.
may you always have something to hope for and never achieve it.
So Eileen,
Yeah.
I can't see her name. It's LL.
Cool. LL Cool J, well, hey,
No, I can't see the name.
I'm gonna knock you out.
IIENE, Angel. She says, "Oh my God, I feel the same about summer."
am I right? Am I right? It's progressively going towards death, and I do love autumn, by the way. Autumn was my favorite season, all through my childhood, all growing up, because I loved the leaves, and I love the feel of it, and the crispness in the air, and things starting over, and stuff. Summer was like hot and icky.
Oh, James joined.
Oh, James.
And Michael.
James and Michael,
Wait,
welcome.
I missed people. I missed
Yeah.
Robert, Jeffrey, Jimmy. I don't know. Ask her how she says her name. Angel. It looks like Lean. LL.
Oh, Angeline.
No. IIENE. I don't know how to say it. Michael joins and James.
Well, welcome to all of you, including
You're the
Angelina.
It's a beautiful name. I just tell her I can't see it.
Well, I'm never close yet. Really, where is it?
Look at that name.
Hold on. There's two names. It's just her name is Eileen. And I'm sorry if that is her last name. I'm giving her whole name on the air. Eileen. And welcome to everyone who's watching. But yeah,
Oh, she said it. Eileen.
Yeah.
I-L-E-N-E. Thank you. I'm gonna.
right. That is, by the way, what you would name a one-legged woman. Old joke. I get it, Eileen. How many times has she heard that joke? By the way, we do jokes of all stripes here, most of them bad, on Dave's Gone By. We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. We have Rabbi Saul Solomon reading the papers. We have a Wretched
Alan
Pun of Destiny.
Wasserman. Hi, Alan.
Hello, Alan. Wretched Pun of Destiny coming, our Today, Yesterday quiz. Inside Broadway, we will go for some, not much, but a little bit of news of the Rialto and our Greeley Crimes and Old Times
This is
segment.
good, David.
Yeah.
I think the watch party with the green dot means people are on Facebook. So I re-invited the people who are actively on Facebook.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm
I
learning.
appreciate that. Yeah. So what do we, before we get to the show really proper, and by the way, welcome to Robert from my high school. He said, good morning. Good morning to you. Well, we're talking all about this Corona stuff and where we will be come September, both here in New York and in Colorado. Is there anything greater? Is there anything more telling about the world that we live in today? And I hold this for both Republicans and Democrats and all of us. Is there anything more magnificent than the quote from White House economist Larry Kudlow earlier in the week? Because he was, now he's not a scientist, he's not a doctor, he's an economist, right? And was asked to comment about what's happening, not thank goodness on the East Coast, but what's happening in the South and in parts of the West, like Arizona and California, alas, and Texas, and especially Florida, where they're having now record instances of this pandemic. They're having deaths. They're not releasing hospitalizations at this point. I think they can handle it so far. But it's, the pandemic is hitting them now to a lesser level, but the way it was hitting New York and New Jersey.
It's like it just rolled out for them. Like
Yeah, it's just because whatever it was, it's starting on the East Coast, which was more populous, and whatever other factors culturally that come into play when a pandemic is trying to spread. And so it hit us, seems to be easing off and going away. Governor Cuomo's going to shut up once a day. So, and then
Jesus.
But it moved. It didn't just sort of flow into the ozone or just go across the channel. I mean, it hit India. They're dealing with it
No,
now.
it's everywhere. It's global. It's a global.
Yeah, but there's certain global places. I think New Zealand has zero. Like they literally never got it, or they got one death from it, and that's it.
Rural places are more isolated, so they might not have exposure yet, but they will.
Well, everybody will, but
if somebody goes on vacation there who has it, guess what?
Yeah, well, but it's the same thing here. Why isn't New York, which has opened up very specifically a week ago, but started opening up a month ago in some ways, why hasn't it just come back again? Why hasn't it re-emerged, resurfaced?
Because people are still safe. People are being cautious still.
I don't know. I think there's just something about the way it's like a swarm of bees, the way it travels. It comes, let's attack this, let's go into this tree. And then they leave the tree, and they all en masse, like birds.
You should have Mihal on your show.
Would she be willing to talk about it? When we have quite literally, a genius scientist friend who is working on COVID in Washington, D.C. That's where or Bethesda, that's where her lab is. So she has a certain way. She would have words for our president and vice president and all those folks.
Smart. She's real science. She's not cuckoo.
Exactly. She is truly a scientist, and she could talk to Larry Kudlow. But here's the deal.
She might have to use a whiteboard and a lot of stick figures, probably.
You know what? She's brilliant.
Yes.
I would need a whiteboard to understand what the hell she was actually talking about.
She can explain things very simply.
Can she?
Yeah.
You know what? I want her on, if she's willing, I will get her on the show next week. I've always wanted to have them on the program.
You should.
Yeah. I just thought she wouldn't, she didn't want to talk.
But
She's
she has to
sort of
explain and
secrecy.
say it's her personal opinion. I mean, it's not like she
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah, I don't want to get her in trouble.
No.
She's going to cure this thing. I was like, she had it. She was just about to cure it, and then she went on my show. And then they fired her.
She talked to Dave, and that was it. Oh, let's see. Somebody wrote. Hold on.
Oh,
Connie wrote. If you love it.
Well, tell me.
Connie. She said, if you love potatoes, you might. I wish. Can you share a picture of the? It's on my Google Drive. I'm going to share the picture here. Hold on.
Okay, please do.
Oh my god.
What happened?
No, I'm scrolling. Okay, I'm going to say like. I just liked her comment. I got to look. I'm going to try to share a picture.
Please do.
How do I don't know how to. I can't.
Okay. I'm not on Zoom here, so I can't just share my screen. But do you want to do it on the phone? Online?
We have a lot of people joining.
Well, welcome, everybody. But they're waiting for me to tell them about this quote.
David, you have to put that picture up so people can see it.
Are you talking about the one? All they have to do is Google 2020 Greeley Potato Day. That's all they got to do, or give them a link. Okay. Yeah. So it's happening. Whether it's just something quick or it's something much more serious and much more dangerous that's happening in Florida and Texas and so forth in these southern places, I'm not sure. But either way, the numbers are showing. The CDC numbers, and I guess the World Health Organization numbers are showing something scary going on with this pandemic. It hasn't left us. It isn't like, well, this place is opening up, so all of America's opening up, and let's not be that careful anymore, and so forth. So they ask White House economist Larry Kudlow about this, and they say, how do you and the president, how do you react to and how will you cope with this spike in coronavirus numbers? How are you going to deal with the spike? And this is the emis, as Broadway Danny Rose would put it. This is the God's honest truth. This is how Larry Kudlow responded. I don't know if you heard this. And he's not an idiot. He's not a dumb man. He doesn't watch him. I think it was on CNN or MSNBC. He wasn't even on one of the Foxy kind of channels. They said, Mr. Kudlow, how are you going to deal with how do you justify opening up X, Y, and Z with this spike in numbers? And he said, it's not a spike. It's not a. I feel like Lewis Black when he did. It's not a spike. It's not a spike. He said, it's a jump. I am not wrong. I'm not joking. He said, and you're talking to an English professor, okay? I talk adjunct English at the University of Northern Colorado. Excuse me, for about 5 years. And I've taught English in other places and playwriting. So I know what it is to choose just the right word versus the word that's not quite right. That's part of almost everything I teach. I know what it is when it's a synonym and not quite a synonym. And in or out of context, to me, spike is the same as jump. If you look in the dictionary, we will have a dictionary out later. I can look it up then, but spike and jump.
I just sent it.
Thank you.
I sent it it's in the chat though. Yeah. It's just in the chat.
It's not a spike, ladies and gentlemen. It's a jump. These were the actual quotation of Larry Kudlow. It's not a death, it's a loss of life. Okay? It's sure I thought some of these out, yeah. It's not baldness.
It's lack of hair.
It's loss of hirsuteness. It's not blindness, you just can't see. This is the world.
No. You know what it is? It's when it's like my thing. If your car is broken, you go to the mechanic, right? You don't go to your personal trainer. If you need to go to the gym, if you get an economist to talk about, economists, I can do projections and models if I put on my statistician outfit, right? But it doesn't. You're not suited for everything. You have a limited range of what you can do.
Well, not only that,
this is. Lane, right?
But this isn't even about him spinning the news. Well, it is spinning the news, or giving false numbers, or misinformation, or countering perhaps correct information, or saying, hey, it isn't necessarily correct. A lot of these people, and you hear this all over the place of people who have died, of the tens of thousands of people who have died. So many of them happen to have coronavirus, but they were killed by regular flu and other comorbid conditions because they were 80, 90 in nursing homes. They were tested for COVID, and so therefore they died of COVID, even if it wasn't really the thing that got them.
Well,
Okay.
that's not true.
Tell me.
So I used to work, I studied TB and HIV at the Department of Health. We looked at records.
Yeah.
The primary cause of death is the instant thing that kills you. So I could have TB and HIV.
Yeah.
If I have HIV, it's not the primary cause of death. TB could be the primary cause. People would switch it,
Yeah.
right? So you have to look at, you might have something, but it doesn't mean it killed you. What killed you?
Oh, so if someone that has terrible pneumonia,
Yeah.
and then COVID, they happen to catch a little bit of COVID.
It just depends
It
on
would
what
be,
the
but
real...
COVID would be the thing that they would.
Well, I'm sure they're going to list COVID anyway, but it should be the thing that kills you.
Okay. Well, then you agree that the number 120,000, which I think is close to the number of dead in America at this point. I think we're about 118. But keep trying, keep dying. If you can spin that number, but it's one thing to try and do that, or to counter that number, or to assuage it, and say, yes, we can open up because we're putting protocols in place, even in Florida. Yeah, it's a bit of a spike, but we'll deal with it in this and this and this and this, and we'll stay at phase 2 for longer than we expected. Kudlow could have said any of that, whether he's a scientist, an economist, another Kellyanne Conway, I mean, whatever he is. It is quite another to take a word, say that is not the right word, and then give an exact synonym for that word. It's not a spike. It's a jump. He's not stupid. He's a moron. But that just made my day. That particular moment just absolutely made my day. And the other thing I want to talk about COVIDly about is, much as I hated it since my late teens, much as I cursed it daily, showering, this is true, as I cursed it, much as I loathe it most of the time.
Do you want your...
And in a weird way, not yet, I'm looking for, I almost this weekend, I want to get on a Long Island Railroad train.
Oh my God, you must...
And go to New York. Just to, because it's been...
We've had a lot of people join. John and Barry and Connie and Charlie and Brunwell. I can't say English now.
Louis Manuel?
No.
Wow.
And then Alan and Bo.
Bo? There's a Bo watching?
That's a cool name.
You hear me mention Texas and suddenly have a bow.
That's so cool.
I don't need a bow, I'm married. Yeah, it's a shotgun wedding right there. Yeah.
I don't think that's the sound we wanted.
So, here's the deal. I dreaded the railroad.
Elizabeth joined. Hey,
Welcome, Elizabeth. I dreaded the railroad, schlepping on it. I used to commute 4 or 5 days a week. I would go to the theater 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, and just, it was always, I'd love to be at the theater right now, but between where I am and the theater door is an hour and 10 minutes of annoyance, right? And got to sit around and pay exorbitant amount for a ticket to get.
But sit in the car and people are yelling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you going to talk about the color coding?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. But at the same time, there's a part of me. It's been now 3 months, and it hasn't been that hard because Joyce and I have been living in Colorado, and I've gone months, half a year longer without coming to New York and without seeing any theater and without walking up Times Square or going down to the Village or Chinatown or anything like that. I thought it's broken me from this need to see that and be there every week or every other week, at least, something like that. It's okay. I don't have to be. But it's now been, since I'm in New York, been living here for a year and a half almost. Actually, not almost, a full year and a half. And being so close and yet so far away, and not wanting to risk, and of course for all these weeks there was not that much to do. And then you can walk around and you can get maybe some takeout food, and that's it. Can't go to a movie, can't go to the theater, can't sit in a restaurant, which is one of my favorite things to do. So it's like, what am I going to do? Walk around the Ramble in Central Park, get raped, and go home. So it sounds like a plan. But part of me, as an expression of freedom, as a desire to get away from living just in a room and going back and forth to work and to the supermarket, is like, damn, weather's beautiful. New York's opening up a little bit. Haven't seen it in weeks and weeks. Let me just get on the friggin' railroad. Why the hell not? And hopefully they'll honor my tickets Some of them have expired. And I don't know if you saw this in the paper, Long Islanders, but the railroad is trying to do something to prove that it's okay to ride the rail.
That they're opening up the bar cars, massive bar car opening.
That's right.
Bar cars for every. What is this, honey?
Oh, that was from the plug. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm using a new extension cord.
Okay.
That was from the extension cord.
Okay.
So what does the railroad
honey.
talk about? Yeah. And the batteries are dead.
Do you want new ones?
Don't worry about it.
I have ones in the other room.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. The railroad, in its infinite wisdom, said, well, how do we get riders to feel more confident? And how do we get to obey the laws or the rules put in place by the governor, by the mayors and so forth, and the county supervisor, and so on, to do what we got to do to get ridership back, because it was down to about 90% down over the COVID era, right? As it should have been. But now people have to work, and they want riders back, and they want them feeling safe, or they have to prove that they're being safe. So here's the deal. This is what they're doing. This is magnificent. They're going to have, or they've updated their LIRR train time app, and I've got to hand it to the rail. I've been using for the past 2 years, or whenever I've been in town, this train time app. It's pretty great. When my Wi-Fi is working properly, you can find, instead of having to have those little...
Wait, let me just stop you. These are the batteries for my exercise bike, so they're going to last like this today and that's it.
Oh, okay.
They're
That's
the ones
fine.
that came with it.
Let me get this. I'm just recording what I'm doing here, just in case.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Boop-a-doo. Here we go.
Do you want a drink, honey? Or
yeah, that would be
or
wonderful.
do
Thank you
want
so
your
much.
cream?
Perfect.
Or
Well, it's ready. All you have to do is have
say hi to
the
Barry,
spritz.
Elizabeth, Carrie, and Ty.
Ty.
T-Y, Ty.
Hello. Hi, Ty. Yeah.
My Ty.
It's my time of day. So here's the deal. And you want to talk about this color coding
It's
idea?
a joke.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So Howard, they're gonna do.
Well, explain it first.
They're gonna say red means it's full, yellow means it's semi-full, green means it's open. But it's done by weight of people in the car. As soon as people bum rush off the platform, they're gonna be like, "How are you gonna do that?" And then even if it's a light car and empty, if someone's sitting right across from you, it's still a risk.
Well, if it's a light car and empty, you can move.
Yeah, but
that's one thing.
As soon as you my thing is, you're gonna be playing what do you call it? Musical chairs. As soon as someone else gets in the car and sits next to you, you're going to have to move.
Yeah, but here's the deal. I mean, it's a lovely idea if we all had all the time in the world to make our train. And, if like there was a Long Island Railroad back to your domicile every 10 minutes. Thank you.
Sorry. Do you want something else?
No, this is fantastic.
I'll bring
Thank
it
you.
back. Do you want me to put it over there or what? Want an Italian soda?
Nothing like an
Do
extra.
you just want just vanilla and seltzer, like a soda water?
No, let me finish this. This will carry me if I get through this.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
You could, you're going to put it there, just move the...
No, you know what, I'll hand it back to you because I don't want to spill it accidentally.
Let me know when you want more.
Thank you, dear. Okay, so...
So
but this idea,
yeah.
If you have commuters, and if commuters knew that they had, like every 10 minutes, like Mussolini, every 15 minutes there would be a railroad train to take them to their stop, and they say, okay, you know what, don't fill up more than half the car. I can't get on, all right, I'll wait 10 minutes, I'll get a pretzel or something. But commuters know that if it's in rush hour, the trains are packed no matter how many show up. And in later hours and overnights, the trains come once an hour or less if you live further out on the island. So if you miss a train, you're screwed, right? If you miss that 10 o'clock p.m. train going back to Ronkonkoma, going back to Huntington and so forth, it's 11:05 is the next one. You don't want to do that. So not the vast majority, but a great chunk of the ridership is just getting there. And they're like, oh, especially during...
And David, then you have to change at Jamaica or Woodside. Like, you're not on the same train.
Right. It's not as you get to sit down and go to your destination. Most of the time, change at Jamaica change at Forest Hills. It's like, so what's happening then is even if the car's half empty, now you have, I don't know, 150 people.
Or when
that sounds like a lot.
when a train is taken out of service and people are stuck at the Jamaica platform.
Yeah, you're going to have
Cranky
people
as all
crowding
that.
around.
Yeah.
Some of them with masks. Some of them going to be jerks
cranky, and
without.
some of them are drunk from drinking at Penn Station for an hour and a half because their train's delayed.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of, well, what you do is you get to the platform and then you just kind of walk leisurely towards the car that's lit in green.
Need an app, so then you need good cell service and an app to figure out which car it is.
Yeah, your cell phone, first of all, has to work underground on the platform.
Yes.
Then you've got to kind of come down the stairs and while looking at your cell phone.
While you're running for the train, yes.
Yeah. And then try and get on a train where all these other people are trying to find where the green car
half
is.
Half the time people are standing. What are they? I mean, there's been. It's more common than not that I'm standing in the aisle. Mm-hmm. The one time there was a guy with the cane who almost fell over. I had to ask someone to get up and let that man sit. It made me crazy. Yeah. You know, like half the time you're standing. So if you're standing, how are you gonna? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, 80% of the time, when I'm coming home after a show, and I'm talking about a 10 o'clock or 10:30 train, and I'm coming back from Penn Station, I am, forget getting a seat. Because if I wanted a seat, if there were any, it would be a middle seat, which is, even in the best of times, non-COVID, is the worst seat to sit in. And then you get people putting all their bags and stuff all over the seat. They're not supposed to do it. Well, that people can stop. At least that is solvable. Oh, David joined another. David, welcome. Is it the one from your high school begins with a G last name? Oh, wait. Yes, the doctor. Yes. Yes, the doctor, yes. But, so I know that I will stand, and I know that there's going to be somebody literally standing by the door to my right. I'm going to be facing two other people who are standing in the vestibule, the alcove by the doorways, and then 4 more people on that other side over there, right? I'm going to say, how do you solve that? Ticket needed for the Daverhood. How do you color code? It's sort of like the, it's even more silly in a way than the alerts we had after 9/11, where, it's an orange alert versus a yellow alert, which probably meant something to some generals working in the Pentagon, and to the rest of us, it's okay. Be a little more scared today. If you see something, say something even louder because it's orange alert. What are you talking about? The hell? So I like the idea that the Long Island Railroad is vaguely trying to help, but how do you enact that unless you literally have it like Japan, where you've got conductors standing by the car and guiding people. Like, nope, this car full. But you're doing that with a mass of people crowded together trying to get on. It doesn't let's face it, the Long Island Railroad is always this close to a riot. It's people who are miserable and hot and angry, and they're standing close together, and they're schwitzing, and they smell. Oh, Karen and Linda joined. Right, and they have to be there. They don't want to be there, but they feel they have to be there. And there's just one moment, and they're massing, they're coming down the escalators. And now I'm trying to show my ticket, but I have no Wi-Fi, and I did it before the tunnel, and I can't show my ticket. I mean, how are they doing this with the subways? How are they even? The only thing that has kept these places from being pandemic central the past few weeks is that fewer people have been using them. Have had to go to work, so it was essential workers riding the subways. Fine. So if the subway at 3:00 in the afternoon isn't crowded with school kids, those horrible, wretched high school teenagers, right? and it's not crowded with a lot of people coming home, it's just workers, then okay. You can stand away from people, wear your mask, get on, get off, not be smushed in the platform, not have to jump through the doorway at the last second to smush in and piss people off while you pull your bag in. It's manageable. It's reasonable. But New York has not been manageable or reasonable for the number of people that it has in decades. The infrastructure, the system wasn't built to handle all the people that it does. The same. Well, it was a little suburb. It was a hick town 150 years ago when they started putting the railroad out there. It was meant to take people gently from their domicile to the heart of Manhattan. It wasn't meant to be a cattle car, which is what it has been since I was riding the damn thing in the late 1970s, and has only gotten worse because it's gotten more populous, and there hasn't been the money or the wherewithal
to fix things. And they think that everything's going to be okay because, his car seems to be red. I got just enough time to jump onto the orange car, along with the 5 other people behind me who are going to push me in and breathe on me. Yeah, genius. Just genius. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the pandemic. I know, it's an hour into the show. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, here in the Daverhood. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. Potato, of course, with us. And I am, of course, the Potato King of Greeley, Colorado. If you don't believe me, just Google Greeley Museum's Potato Day 2020. You'll find out. So let me talk a little bit more about this, because I was bitching or mocking last week about where I work and saying that, yeah, old Dave had a wonderful 3-month vacation from my day job. It was glory. I loved it. I put on weight because I just lay on the bed working for myself all day long. I finally got to do some of the stuff that I really wanted to do to catch up, to get the archives in better shape. I'm taking old stories of mine, articles, news things that I wrote for various publications 30 years ago, typing them up, putting on davelefkowitz.org so everybody can read these things that I wrote. They haven't gone into oblivion, right? In fact, I wish I had 20 zillion more hours to do that in my day. And I was able to do it to some extent over 3 months because I was home, paid, God bless the union, and thank you so much to where I work for doing that. And then I was talking last week about just how spoiled I am as a person and as an American when they asked me to come back half-time, temporarily half-time. You know, they've been paying me this whole time. And I was like, oh, God, you mean I have to come in? Can't they just keep paying me for doing nothing? My God, why not? You know, I got so mad. I felt so entitled. I'm like, hey, I love you guys. Thank you for paying me. You don't actually need me to come back yet. They haven't cured COVID. I could get illness. I could get a boo-boo. I could get a paper cut, right? But no.
Oh my God, when you said that, Betsy joined twice.
Welcome, Betsy. Welcome, Betsy. So, and heavens to you. Here's the deal.
Oh, I like that. That's fine.
So I went back in 2 weeks ago, half days, working my ass off because we're incredibly backed up. And we're all there, and some of us are wearing masks some of the time. Some of us are not wearing masks some of the time.
You can fool some people.
It's so... I'm not going to say it's lax. I'm not going to blame the administration there. I'm just going to say that, you know,
Brad joined.
Supposedly, if you're in public areas, even though there's no public yet, they're not admitting the public back in the building where we work, but there's staff. You know, people... normal people with germs and whatever. We about 40 people who work in this place, and they're staggering the hours, so people working half days. Doesn't matter. We're all breathing. We're all coughing. We're all spitting. We're all sneezing. We're all walking around, and some of us are walking out, or being very careful about, at least in public areas, you know, throwing a mask on, and it's a pain in the balls. Because I know it's pointless in this stage. It won't be in October. But for now, you know, it's like every time I get up, I have to use the bathroom. If I have to go to check my mailbox in the break room, gotta throw on the mask, come back, take off the mask. And even one of the people that we work with is very serious about this whole pandemic thing. She takes it serious. She is not getting sick. So she's in there. The mask stays on from the second she enters the building, before she enters the building, to when she goes home. Which means that anytime I come near her, which is 80 times a day, because her area is where I need to use a certain printing machine.
Oh, Trevor joined.
Hey, Trevor.
Asaf, ASSAF, Asaf.
Welcome, Asaf. Yeah.
Victor.
But because she is so scared of it, you know, whenever I'm in her area, I can't just go to the printing machine. I gotta throw on the mask, print something out, go back to my desk, throw off the mask so I can be like a person. Meanwhile, the guy who's sitting in front of me never wears a mask. The only time he goes through, he literally puts it on just to go outside our room. But he doesn't, he's just, not going to get it. No mask, screw it. But this is the combination, and this is what America is going to be. This is what America was like in the riots. This is like what America is when the Orthodox Jews 2 months ago were doing their funerals. Some people are like, hey, I'm being very good about this, and they're standing next to someone who doesn't give a shit. Okay? Or, and rightfully or wrong, the not give a shit people could be just as right in these, as the swarm of COVID moves
My
away.
thinking would be I would wear a mask because I want to protect myself and my family. I have reason to, you know?
Right, yeah. But again, the mask is more about protecting the other person, because
No, it's not.
it can get in your eyes.
Yeah, the mask is protecting you from touching your mouth while you touch a surface.
Yeah.
Or also, like, you know, getting stuff into your mouth. I mean, you know.
Okay, I thought it was more about your sputum not sputating onto somebody else. But I guess you're right. I am less. If I've got a mask on, I'm obviously not going to lick my fingers to turn a page. I'm not going to. I won't pick my nose or anybody else's nose during that time. They'd have the mask over their nose. So, and we've been working there for 2 weeks now. All of us, these people, some taking extra precautions, some taking very minimal precautions, no precautions at all, going all around the building, touching all the stuff, touching all the desks. Nothing's been fumigated, nothing's been irradiated. We're just, in littles, like we picked up where we left off, occasionally wearing masks. And then now it's this coming week, we start getting directives of how this place is going to try and combat any sort of spike or resurgence of the pandemic. And this is the hilarious, this is wonderful. So every day when we come in, and by the way, not by the front door, but once we're already in the building upstairs to our offices, first of all, our boss is going to take all our temperatures. And I don't know how I stopped myself from going, oh, I hope it's rectal. I didn't say that. I thought it. But they haven't done this in 2 weeks. They're going to now do a head temperature check when we come in the room, note down the actual temperature. This is going to be part of her job, okay? Good luck to her. And how she's going to stand far enough away to administer this so that she's 6 feet away and we're wearing a mask. Okay, but fine. It's not about stopping any disease. It's not about the pandemic. It's not about people getting sick and staying healthy as much as they want to say it is. It's all about legality. It's all about proving to New York State and I guess the president and whoever else, the CDC, that, we're following protocols. We're going to do whatever we can, wink, to make sure that we're all good and healthy and following the directives. We're taking our shoes off at the airport because that makes such a damn difference. So every single day at work now, we're going to have to fill out. I've told you folks where I work. I work in a library, but I don't necessarily have to have the name of it here. We're going to have to fill out this questionnaire of, and I don't know if people watching the show are having this in their offices, in their places of business too. The idea is, I guess you're under oath.
What does it say?
Because you might have to sign this or something, but this is the New York Forward Safety Plan. So this is taking the place of having to listen to Governor Cuomo every day. This is the safety plan. Check it out. To ensure the library and its employees comply with protective equipment requirements. Remember, they're doing this next week, not the first 2 weeks we were back. We must implement mandatory health screening assessments, a questionnaire, a temperature check before employees begin work each day, asking about your COVID symptoms of the past 2 weeks, positive COVID-19 tests in the past 2 weeks, or close contact with confirmed or suspected patients. And remember, and of course, by signing this, is like, well, it's not chicken pox. It's a very different disease.
Okay.
Yeah. Somehow signing this makes everything better.
No, it's legal.
It's legal.
Yeah.
It's telling the government, hey, we're doing this. So these are some of the questions. I'm going to try and be funny about these. I don't know if I can. To help this become a safer workplace for all, please actively self-monitor your health. Before coming to work, take your temperature and assess how well. I don't have to. I've got my boss doing it. You know, that's one thing. That's one activity I don't have to worry about. I'm going to come to work and my boss will take my temperature. If you're ill, please don't come to work. Follow procedures for calling out sick. So you have to take us. How many people are going to start to do that if they want to keep their sick days for vacation next year, right? How many folks? I'm not. Who has done this? Hasn't everybody listening to this?
We got Scott, John, and Tim.
Welcome.
A lot of library people are on this call, Bubba.
Oh my gosh,
We
okay.
got 2 library people, and I don't know where my cord is.
Well, welcome, library folks. I'm just telling the truth. That's all I do on this program. I am telling the truth. Right? So they're gonna, but you know, whether it was in school or whether at work, and you're feeling kind of oochy, but you don't want to waste a sick day because you get them. That's a day that you can take off when you're feeling well. Taking a sick day off when you're sick sucks. You want to save those sick days.
I'm going to send a bunch of people, cat reading a book.
Okay. So when you arrive at work each day, you're going to answer these following questions. Please confirm that the following statements are true. Number 1, I confirm I do not have a fever
I confirm.
of 100.4 degrees or higher.
If you had that fever, you would not be able to stand or go to work.
No, 100. You could do 100. 101 you start getting.
104. I had 100 and something. I had to go to the ER. So
No, 104
this
you'd be
was
close to death.
Years ago,
No,
not now.
100.4. Not 104.
Oh, 104. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
100.4.
That's fair. Some people run hot.
Well, no, if I wanted to stay home, would you do the thing that children do?
It doesn't work.
Like, Tim, you put your face on the radiator,
work.
you know, like, you put the hot water on
I sent
it.
a picture of a little dog wearing an ice pack on his head.
Well, wait, it didn't work when you were a kid because you put your head on something hot, and then they take the temperature in the mouth or in the tushy.
I couldn't. My mother was a nurse. I remember when I had a fever as a child, she would like wipe me down with alcohol. I did not want to have a fever because it's pleasurable to smell of alcohol, but being wiped down in alcohol is like not a good time.
Wait. When on Earth, on what planet is the smell of alcohol pleasurable?
Well, it reminds me of being cared for. But when I had a fever as a kid, she'd take a washcloth, dip it in alcohol, and wipe me down.
No, if you have a serious fever, they do that. They would throw in an ice bath.
Leslie, is that Leslie from the library?
How does she spell it?
Leslie.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
But here's another. In the past 14 days, here's another question that you have to answer. I confirm I have not had any of the following symptoms without another known cause. Fever of 100.4 or higher, actual or subjective.
Please say Fahrenheit.
Wait a minute.
Please say Fahrenheit because it's not Celsius, dude.
Yeah, it better not be. If you have a fever of Celsius, I would say stay home. And by the way, Robin is asking where I'm working. I'm working at a local library here on the South Shore of Long Island. Fever. Can you explain this? You're the word person. We were talking about the parsing of words, spike versus jump.
It means that you have taken your physical temperature and know you have a fever, or you feel super hot and you feel like you might have a fever. That's what I'm saying.
If you subjectively...
If you feel like you have a fever and it's over 100.4...
So if you're feeling not so well, you consult Henri Bergson.
You're just self-sad.
It's like, in objective reality... Aren't we all sharing the same fever? Because if I'm 100.7, aren't you, in a Jungian sense, 100.72? By the way, if you think I'm goofing on that, here it is.
David,
actual or subjective.
That's not even, so we have, the home health aides have to do that for the agency, their scan.
Yeah, that's true.
Amazon workers, Fresh Direct workers, Instacart workers are fever checked.
But it's one thing to prove, and they're going to do that. They're going to take your temperature and prove it. It's another to have to fill out a form saying...
Well, let's say that you're really crafty. Let's say you need the money and you want to go to work. You don't want to take off. So what people could do is they could lower their fever symptoms by taking Tylenol or Advil.
Yeah.
So they could have a fever, know they have a fever, lower it, and report. And
get it down to 99.7.
And that's wrong. So that's where they're asking, have you been naughty? Meaning, have you somehow,
Have you had intermittent or constant fever, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, chills, muscle pain? Well, everybody who works out in the gym will have muscle pain. Yeah. Sore throat, which I get after I do the show.
Yeah.
Or new loss of taste or smell.
Yeah, but they're finding those symptoms are some related. Some people have those symptoms, some don't.
They're also related to your common cold, flu, and the herp. Well, maybe not the herp.
But you got to be careful because you're dealing with the public.
I know.
So you want to make sure that you're not putting the public at risk, honey.
I confirm that no member of my household, person for whom I care, or intimate partner has been diagnosed with or suspected. Yeah, I've been known to choke my chicken occasionally, but here we go. Thank you very much. or intimate partner has been diagnosed with or suspected to have COVID-19. Well, considering that every other person
I know
in America supposedly is positive with
and
the thing.
The fact that you want to eat these.
And the fact that I keep a can of Beanie Weenie from 30 years ago for no particular reason, I'm wondering. No, but I've got. We live with an invalid in this house who could, God knows what this man. Well, we know he's had serious health issues of all sorts. Could very well have a carrier version of this disease. I can just say, you know what? Yeah, I think I'll go on COVID unemployment instead of doing what I did. What happened there?
Unplug the light.
It's all right. It looks good.
I'm looking for my computer. The computer for the watch party, the plug needs to be plugged.
Oh dear. It's going to be there. There it is. We got it.
I unplugged the light, so if the light doesn't work, it's just that I unplugged the wrong thing.
I confirm that I have
Are
not.
you still reading that? Jeepers.
Well, there's 5 questions. This is going to be half the program already. I confirm I have not prolonged. Oh, I'm sorry. I have not had. I prolonged occasionally. You know what I mean?
John and Erica joined. Sorry.
I confirm that I have not had prolonged for more than 10 minutes or close within 6 feet contact anyone diagnosed with or seeking medical confirmation of COVID-19.
But that's a lot to ask a person to assess.
If we all want a day off, we should just say, we should tell each other, I'm thinking of getting tested by the end of the week. Is it? Well, I'm working. I just stood next to someone who's thinking of getting tested by the end of the week. I better stay home. And finally, I confirm I have not had direct contact. Oh God! I confirm I have not had direct contact.
Yeah.
With body fluids.
Oh no!
I'm serious.
Too soon.
Or infectious secretions.
God almighty.
Of anyone diagnosed with or suspected.
Oh, like if you were caregiving to somebody.
Or to have COVID-19. For example, they being coughed on or touching used tissues with a bare hand.
That's like that woman in the bagel shop who was coughed on, right?
Oh, that was horrible. What are they going to do? Now, this is a library, and libraries attract crazy people.
No, but also it's just the volume of people. It's a public institution.
That you can control. But you can't control the person who's going to be ticked off that they don't get the book that they want or that they have $20 in library fines, who will just pull down the mask and go, Pah!
You think that's going to happen?
There's homeless shelters. And when people don't want to be in the homeless shelters during the day, they're like, where can we go for free that has toilets? Library! I mean, it is.
I do
It's been like that ever since I was going to libraries as a kid.
I say that, but I do the Wi-Fi. That's
but anyway, I confirm. And then you have to, of course, this is what makes it all legal. This is what they can send in. To Albany
Don't get so excited, you're going to get a temperature.
Oh, good. Then I can stay home on Monday. I confirm that all of the above statements are true for me on this date, or I am unable to confirm. Nobody is truly able to say whether they've been next to someone who might be seeking confirmation that they have COVID. People might not share that information. I'm unable to confirm all of the above statements are true for me on this date. Name. And it's funny, it doesn't ask you to sign, so you can kind of print your name.
You should have to sign to make it official.
Is that true?
I don't know.
If you just put your name on the bottom of something, but it's in print? Oh. I could do it. I should do my name in Roman numerals and really have them guessing.
You just do GGB, that's what I do.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, it is, what time is it? Oh my God, it's 20 after 10. Well, I thought I have nothing to do on this episode. 20 after 10 in the morning, here in the Daverhood. It's Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wife Joyce, and all of you watching. And do remember that if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying this program, remember that we've done 750 of these previously. Nearly every single one of them is saved at davesgoneby.com, the website, DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. So the last 3 years are on video, because we've been doing this Facebook thing.
Can you sign a paper? I must scan your temperature and have you sign a paper.
Actually, I am sure. Can you pull up the AC things?
Have something cold. This is cold.
No, yeah, also, I mean, make it like 67 degrees or something.
Yeah, sure, whatever you need.
Because I am schwitzing, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll do this.
Yes. I need to schwitz or get off the pot. All right, here we go.
I'll put it on high speed.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, that's better. I feel it already.
It's high speed. Is that okay, honey? Let me turn
You are bringing down my temperature as we
Do you
speak.
need this light or wait, let's see.
Don't need it.
Okay, so
Don't
then
need it.
let's have that off so you have a little bit more. If you can get some,
Yeah.
Any way you could get cooler by not having so many lights on might be good.
True. So, and I think I just thank you so much for taking
Do you
that.
want
So,
ice or something?
no, I'm good.
Okay.
Dave'sGoneBy.com, the archive
Multitasking.
of all things Dave. And remember, the first
Oh, welcome, Michael and Mario.
welcome. First 14 or 15 years of the program was audio only. We were on terrestrial radio and then college radio and internet radio. So it was only audio. All those files are there at davesgoneby.com. You can also listen to the last 11 years of the show, audio only, at castbox.fm, which is linked up with like Google Play. Castbox.fm, if you just want to do the podcasty thing and listen, or all our archives for the past 11 or so years are at archive.org, which is this wonderful not-for-profit website that is just
Mario
gathering
says hi.
millions and millions of pages of books and of audio recordings and old radio shows and old TV shows. And I mean, it's an extraordinary archive, and we're thrilled to be on there. All our interviews, all our shows, and we keep putting more and more on archive.org. Who said hi?
Mario.
Mario, what's the first
That's
initial?
my Mario. Xavier Soto.
No, don't know that. But welcome, Mario, and welcome to all the folks who tune in every week here on Dave's Gone By.
You're going to have to take all their temperatures.
That's true. There will be a computer app. There has to, where you hold the phone up against your forehead and it takes your temperature. I mean, if a Fitbit can do your pulse and all that, are we very far away from just being able to take a virtual?
Too, another Mark.
Yeah. Actually, maybe that's the next wave of telehealth, where you won't come into work because you could literally test. You could open up your computer, put your head against the screen, wait 10 seconds, and it will give you a reading. I wonder.
Years ago, the Apple Watch was going to do blood sugar. They were trying to do blood sugar reading
without blood, right?
Yeah. But I don't know what happened. I lost.
Man, I would get diabetes just to try that, because I've always been terrified of getting diabetes just because I'm needle phobic. I don't want to be pricked, even though I occasionally behave like a prick. But but if they can finally test for diabetes and things like that, or if they could take blood without actually taking blood, wouldn't that be? Oh, I would give blood every week.
Wow.
If they don't have to puncture my skin to take blood, take gallons, take quarts. I've got a job that requires no brain power. I'd rather just lie around and sit and read and work on my own stuff all day. I don't need much blood for that. I'm not going cycling. I'm not running out climbing mountains. Give me half a quart of blood. Let me get really sallow, build up blood while I sleep, and then you have more the next day. It's all right. But it's the touching. What am I talking about?
I have no idea.
Anywho, welcome to all the folks who are watching the show. Remember that the archives are at davesgoneby.com, archive.org, and castbox.fm, as well as on YouTube, although YouTube sometimes mutes things or blocks things because of copyright issues when we're playing music on the show. So we have so much to do on this episode of the show. We'll have our Inside Broadway segment. We have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We have our Today Yesterday quiz. Cynthia and Jeff, if you are around, please let me know so we know that we'll do the quiz while you're here. Rabbi Saul is going to be reading some choice bits and sharing from this newspaper, the Jewish Home. And then Dave's, we're not going to have time for Dave's dictionary. We will have time for the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. All of that and more here on Dave's Gone By, our 751st episode of the show called In Sum for this first day of summertime. Are you ready, my dear?
I need a second.
Okay, while you're doing what you're doing, what shall I do? I've done my ad. Well, I can also mention the great folks at Hewlett Minuteman Press. These, and I just spoke with them yesterday because they sponsor the show. I have been happily dealing with them well before we started Dave's Gone By, like 18 years ago. They do fine quality work. They are the franchise of Minuteman copiers that are in Hewlett, Long Island. That is in Hewlett, Long Island. They're run by the Torong family, who's owned and operated it. It's kind of a family business since the mid-1970s. So if you have, stuff that you need, black and white, single-sided copy, double-sided copies, color copies, copies on special paper, long paper, printing, binding, if you need business cards, if you need holiday cards and wedding invitations, if you want your business logo silk screened on uniforms, on clothing, on pen and pencil sets, on sporting equipment and sporting goods. I'm not sure if those are different. If it involves growing the branding of your business, Hewlett Minuteman Press can help. They are open. They're back open again 5 days a week from 12:30 to 5. So they're not full days yet. That's going to be in another week or so. But they're at almost full staff and almost full operation again. So people are getting their businesses together. Restaurants are opening and having special things, so they're going to need menus to print out and flyers and postcards to send. Hewlett Minuteman Press, 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. I guess, I don't know if it's 10 cents a page to copy something. It's 9 cents if you tell them I sent you. But then extrapolate that to a really big job, and you start to save some good money. Hewlett Minuteman Press, they are the copy kings. Okay, are you ready, or should I go on to other things? Okay, Joyce is working on something there. So, why don't we do Inside Broadway? Because I've been a theater critic and a theater journalist and an actor and a director and, of course, a playwright for 3 decades now. And I love the theater. I love talking about Broadway and sharing Broadway stuff. Broadway is really quiet right now. Usually it's quiet in the summer anyway, once the Tonys are finished. Now it's extra quiet because we still don't know. We don't really have an exact date when Broadway is coming back, but it will. And Off-Broadway and the theater will come back. And so, with that spirit, every week on Dave's Gone By, even if it's just for a little while, we go inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Oh, inside Broadway we go. So as I said, I've gotten complaints from some people who aren't real theater people like I am, and they're like, oh gosh, why do I have to hear all this Broadway news? And sometimes the segment tends to go on, but they're shorter these days for a while, just because Broadway is doing whatever it can to try and stay afloat while there's no Broadway to be had. Remember that all Broadway shows stopped on March 12th. In fact, there was a Broadway show that was supposed to open that night called Six. That was their opening night, and it got canceled, and there hasn't been any theater in New York, really, since, unless you count Zoom and online. Shows are on hiatus until September 7th, but that is not the actual date. That is just the date where if you have bought tickets between March and September 6th or 7th, you can get your money back. You can exchange them, no problem, for a later time. It doesn't mean that Broadway is going to start on September 8th, or even that they're going to let the costume designers and the scenic people and the backstage crew people start doing stuff in mid-September. It just means that that's a date that they grabbed to deal with the economics of returning people's money and reservations. Okay? The scuttlebutt is, at first the scuttlebutt was shortly after the new year. Now people are thinking most likely to have the proper protocols in place and get it so that enough people can be in a Broadway theater to make it economically viable for producers to produce something. You have to have people close together for the experience, and for just making it worthwhile to produce a show. You can't take a 1,400-seat theater, put 300 people in it, even if they're paying $150 a ticket, and expect producers to do it. They'll just lose money hand over fist. It's got to be to the point where everybody can sit together in a big theater as a group. So that's what they're waiting for. And the thinking is they'll start letting people backstage in the late winter and have a real season in the spring.
Somebody's jealous of your shirt. They wanted octopus.
Oh, who said?
Mario.
Mario, yes. Look at that, huh? Octa. I'm not Octomom. Pulpo, that's right. Is Pulpo fiction that I'm doing here on Dave's Gone By. So, but here's the sad part. It's not just even in New York. We were talking before about Texas has been spiking or jumping with the coronavirus. So Houston's Theater Under the Stars announced this week that it would postpone all its shows set for the fall. Forget about summer. Summer's done. Nothing's happening in the summer.
Erica joined in Brad.
Welcome, Erica and Brad. There's no theater happening this summer. The Houston, people are sort of thinking, oh, maybe in the autumn things will start back up, but no. Houston's Theater Under the Stars is taking 1776 and Rock of Ages, and they're now going to open those in the spring of like March, April, May, June of next year. And they're going to start, their fingers crossed, they're going to start with The Little Mermaid in early December. So they're going to try and get the holiday crowds in with a Disney show, The Little Mermaid in Houston. Meanwhile, the Center Theater Group in Los Angeles, major California theater producer, they have postponed their season until April of 2021. So that'll start with To Kill a Mockingbird at the Amundsen. What will happen is, honest to God, they will have been dark for 56 weeks before they start up their...
That's over a year.
Yeah, a full... If you figure, they're going to start in April, and they closed in March. They're saying that it's going to result in...
actors have a lot of work. They don't need to work. Actors always have work.
It's not about the...
They can work in restaurants. Oops.
This is about the venues themselves. They are going to have a loss, they expect, of $30 million in ticket revenue for their Mark Taper Forum.
They're almost like CU Boulder.
Kirk Douglas Theaters and the Amundsen. Staff is being furloughed, and the operating budget has been cut 65% for the upcoming season.
You mean for the future?
Yeah, for 2021-22.
Let's get it. Maybe I'll get a dictionary word that might soothe us with that.
Okay. And so this is going all over the country. The country is saying not summer, not even autumn are things going to be happening. Let me set this up while we're doing this. So later in the show, we have a segment called Dave's Big Dictionary. Joyce is thumbing through the Webster's Dictionary from, I think, the year I was born, from 1964. At random, she put her finger down on a word, and my job later in the program is to talk extemporaneously for 5 minutes or so about whatever comes into my head about this word. So the word that Joyce has chosen is...
Carnal, from the Latin, carnalis or caro.
Now we're talking.
Or of the flesh, material, worldly, not spiritual, sensual, sexual, carnality.
Well, I could talk for hours about that. Literally, this was at random. Joyce poked out the word carnal for, speaking of poking, for our Dave's Big Dictionary. That's something to look forward to later on in the show. But getting back to Inside Broadway. So, so the Amundsen, all the stuff at the Center Theater Group, and even here on the East Coast, Goodspeed Musicals, which used to be called the Goodspeed Opera House in East Haddam, Connecticut, their entire 2020 season has been scotched. It's been canceled. But here's what they did. They're just moving it a year in advance. They're actually keeping the same opening dates, preview dates, closing dates. They're just doing them starting in spring 2021 instead of 20. Oh no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I got a little confused there. Goodspeed Musicals is canceling its season and starting again in the spring of 2021 with South Pacific. The Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey is just literally There is a Shakespeare Theater in New Jersey.
Cool.
It's like, yeah, to be or not to be.
You're talking to
That's
me?
what? Yeah, that's a fucking question. Whether is it nobler in the mind to suffer, the slings and shut the fuck up, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, and you can end them by opposing them? I do not think so. I do not think so. So Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey will literally, it's sort of like plunking a palimpsest, like taking the exact thing and just plunking it on the calendar a year later. But at least there's plans, at least there's ideas and hopes for the future, even though it is, again, now much more than half a year away before these things are really going to be happening. Anyway, want to let you know a little bit of sad news in the Daverhood. We lost not a friend of the Daverhood, but a friend of the movies and the theater, Sir Ian Holm.
Sam Sachs?
Oh, I'll get to him. Farewell to Sir Ian Holm, age 88, who died this week after years battling Parkinson's disease. He's an English actor, although born to Scottish parents. After he did his time in the military, but then went to RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in England, a training.
That's a natural segue.
It is. Actually, he was in RADA, had to take a break to do his service, and then came back to it. Got his degree or certificate or whatever they give you, got small spear carrier parts in a lot of Shakespeare roles, but did that for a decade or so, finally went to the Royal Shakespeare Company, and that's when he started getting roles in movies as well. He had only one Broadway credit. In 1967, he played in Harold Pinter's The Homecoming, and he got a Tony Award, a Featured Actor Tony Award for his troubles for doing that. He did a ton of theater in England.
What was his most famous, what was he noted? Like, how would you know him?
Well, first of all, if you saw him, if you saw his picture, you know him. But the funny thing, the thing is, if you know him, the general public knows Ian Holm, it's because he was in such notable films as Alien,
wow,
Chariots of Fire, Terry Gilliam's Brazil. He was in Kenneth Branagh's Henry V.
Wow.
And most notably, and this is wonderful, when these veteran, he's not a journeyman actor, he's a very well-respected and known actor on the other side of the pond, but this idea when you hit your 50s and 60s and 70s, and then you get the role.
Great.
That everybody knows you for. Remember when we were talking about Annie Golden?
Oh yeah, so she was talking about Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, she was a guest on the show a few months ago, Annie Golden, and she was in Hair, and
yeah, you're not going to get stuff or something like
that. And she had reached a certain age when actresses, they get what they get, and then she got that incredible role on Orange is the New Black, and it changed her life well into, I guess, her 50s, possibly 60s. So, congratulations to her.
That was a great interview.
Thank you. So, thing is, Ian Holm hit the big time. He hit the jackpot when in the early 2000s he was cast as Bilbo Baggins in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films. And he was in the first 3 of that trilogy. And that, of course, lifting his profile is what people kind of know him for. But theater people know him as a theater guy. And in fact, Harold Pinter once called Ian Holm his favorite actor, and said, quote, "He puts on my shoe, it fits."
Whoa.
Because you have to have a certain whatever to play Pinter properly.
Sometimes people, when they write, they have someone in mind, or they have like an actor who can just... Remember, like it was Charlie Chaplin, Groucho Marx with Louis J.
Stabbing. Yeah, there's a certain symbiosis,
They wrote for him.
That happens. It's kind of, or when a writer can write for a certain voice, and they just know that they've got the voice, they can do it. So anyway, I know now when I said Ian Holm did get his one Tony for his one Broadway role, he also got an Emmy Award, an Emmy nomination for playing King Lear in a telebroadcast of Shakespeare's play. But farewell to Ian Holm, not coming home again, here in the Daverhood. We're talking about Inside Broadway here on Dave's Gone By. And I want to remind you, well,
Vinicius joined.
Vinicius?
Yeah.
Welcome to me. Wow. Yeah, I feel victorious for that. Here we go. One of the reasons we can do this segment is this wonderful publication, in Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. And I'm holding up the March issue because the April and May and June issues weren't printed out. They were done by a PDF to subscribers. But either way, this is the journal that people in the entertainment industry turn to. See, we're turning to it. When they want to know what's happening on the stages, not only of Broadway, but of off and off-Broadway awards and theatrical special events as well. If you page through it, I mean, every single page has tons of information. Some of it you can't find in the same way anywhere else. A whole guide to all the shows that opened in the previous season and shows that are looking to open because they were postponed or delayed. A map of the Broadway Theater District, a guide to Broadway theaters and their tenants, which is just every single Broadway theater, where it's located, how many seats it has, and what tenants are in it at the moment. Thank you so much.
You want me to make you an Italian soda?
No, I'm great. Once I finish that, thank you. A guide to all the press agents. This is crucially important to people who book guests for talk shows or who are looking to have these plays that are on Broadway or off-Broadway coming into their theaters all around the country. So these are the people who handle the press and promotion for all the shows. And then we've got, of course, our calendar listings of every show on Broadway when it opens, closes, starts previews. And we do that for off and off-Broadway as well. That is very hard to find. You can't find that information anywhere else. And we haven't even gotten to
Patrick joined too.
Welcome, Patrick, to the full, complete calendar, comprehensive listings of every single show. Not just on Broadway, or not just shows that are going to be on Broadway in the future, but the same goes for off and off-Broadway shows as well. Nowhere else can you find this. And yeah, right now Broadway is really quiet. There's nothing per se going on, but they're making plans. And if you need to make plans for your theater going or for your entertainment world in 2021.
Virtual stuff, David, or just print it online? You know?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have any virtual stuff there, or?
Well, the website that I'm going to send you to, performingartsinsider.com, is merely information on how to subscribe. It is a hard copy publication. But as I said, our subscribers for the past 2 or 3 months have been receiving the magazine as a PDF only. It's been emailed to them. We haven't been printing the publication in hard copy. We will go back, I do believe, to hard copy very, very soon. So you will get this lovely magazine that you can read anywhere. You don't need an iPad, you don't need a phone to read it. It will be physically in your hands, fun to thumb through the way magazines are. Go to performingartsinsider.com for information on how to subscribe. performingartsinsider.com. It is and remains the Bible of Broadway. Well, speaking of Broadway and off, we do have one more piece of theater information to give you, and that is that the 65th Annual Drama Desk Awards were Zoomed live last Saturday night. They were supposed to be 2 weeks earlier, but the riots made them postpone. What?
I want the clapping one, but you have it.
Oh, here's the clapper. So the Drama Desk Awards celebrates excellence both on and off Broadway. I'm a member and a proud one. This was the 65th annual one of these. So they did kind of a Zoom broadcast of winners accepting and so forth. So the winners for last season, the shortened season though it was, included The Inheritance by Matthew Lopez, which won for Best Play. A Strange Loop took Best Musical. A Soldier's Play, a terrific revival, by the way, that won for Play Revival. Little Shop of Horrors, off-Broadway, won for Best Musical Revival. Some of the other awards included Edmund Donovan winning Best Actor for Gregor Clements. Actress was Lisa Colon Zayas for Halfway Bitches Go Straight to Heaven. Actor in a musical went to Larry Owens of A Strange Loop. Adrienne Warren, who just tears the house down in Tina, the Tina Turner musical. She won Best Actress in a Musical. Stephen Daldry took Best Director of a Play for The Inheritance. Stephen Brackett won Director of a Musical for A Strange Loop. And Laura Linney played 2 characters in the solo show. She won for Best Solo in My Name is Lucy Barton. So congratulations again to all the folks in this weird, strange time for theater who won Drama Desk Awards last Saturday. And congratulations from the Daverhood and Inside Broadway.
It's the famous gay way where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
You audition very well, you're in great form, you can tell. Broadway grand. As you do your lash and take, we'll call you is all they say. Broadway grand.
Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, damn it. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sal Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck. Oi, my payas, what the hell? There's that problem with my, maybe it's COVID. I have payas COVID. It could happen. No, I believe it. Anywho, so earlier in the week, I was reading some of the newspapers that were produced locally here on Long Island. So how does this happen? How the fuck does this happen? What is this, goddammit? Can we wait, cover my bald spot? God should not see it. This is really, this is, here we go. My eyes. Yes. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Oh, this is beautiful. All right, it's fine. It's fine. You're twisting my brain. It's amazing. We're getting more viewers of you doing this. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So, I was reading the newspaper, and I realized reading a newspaper is such a solitary and isolated thing to do. And we've all been so solitary and so isolated for the past few weeks. I thought, you know what? Maybe I should do like Mayor LaGuardia did back during the newspaper strike, and not just read for myself, but to share with you, the viewers at home, on this Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream, some of the things that caught my eye and ear in reading this newspaper, The Jewish Home. And we're not going to get political because we're not going to talk about annexing the West Bank. Yeah. And we're not going to talk about graduates because I don't care. And we're not going to even talk about island exteriors because we're not going to do an advertisement for them. But we are going to find other things to share and delight in this newspaper, The Jewish Home, the June 18th edition, which is distributed in the 5 towns of Long Island, Brooklyn, and Queens. It is your favorite 5 towns family newspaper. Let us look and see what marvelous things. First of all, no, I don't need that. I've to make my life easier, which I never do, I have folded down certain things that I wanted to share with you very specifically. First of all, oh yes, we have an editorial that I thought we would weigh in on. Now remember, we're living in very, very contentious and difficult times, no matter which side of the map, the American map you are on. With Black lives matter, Jewish lives also should matter, although they tend not to matter as much most of the time. Where we got the global warming, we've got the rioting, we got the protesting, we got the elections coming up in a couple of months, plus, of course, there's the pandemic, and so much to think about and worry about and debate about and write about. This editorial came into the Jewish Home this week. I shall read it. Dear editor, I don't usually write letters in I'm not usually the one to express my opinions that much. You know immediately when someone writes that. They are the most opinionated son of a bitch you've ever met in your entire life. I say, oh, I'm not one to complain. However, if I were to complain, the eggs, they're overdone, not too good. The fried beef next to them is a little too crispy. If you could just take that. And if you're taking that back already anyway, if you can maybe put a little more hot in my tea because it's cooled down while I'm talking to you. No, I don't usually write letters, dear editor. I'm not usually the one to express my opinion that much. But this time is different. This is in regard to the poll, and if you've ever been polled, you know how painful that can be. The poll that was published last week. And remember, folks, remember that we are in a time of COVID. We're in a time of racial unrest. We're in a time of LGBTQ stuff going on in the Supreme Court. All this stuff. This person wrote in, regarding the poll published last week, regarding your favorite Laffy Taffy flavor. This is real. This is real. I refuse to believe that banana is the most popular flavor. Banana pulled 30%, followed by strawberry and blue raspberry at 21% each. The others lower than that. Not only can I not stand the flavor, you can tell this is a Jew immediately. Not only can I not stand banana, but for it to be voted most popular is beyond my understanding. I fully respect those who enjoy banana. So at least they're seeing the other side of things. At least they're not being dogmatic. They despise banana, but at least they understand how other people could perhaps like banana. I am not challenging them in any way, but they're certainly in the minority. It seems that hashtag fake news has unfortunately spread to the Frum papers as well. All best a reader. Well, what can I say? I'm not the hugest fan of bananas. I'm not going to weigh in on the banana versus cherry versus blue raspberry. What the? Why would it be blue raspberry? This bothers me. The other stuff doesn't bother me. Shouldn't raspberry be like, I don't know, red?
Yes, that's why it's called blue, honey.
Yes, so how is Laffy Taffy making this thing that is not in nature?
They probably food coloring.
I don't care. What is that? What's wrong with red?
I don't know.
Raspberries are red. We know this. We know this since we're children. But the Laffy Taffy company, in its infinite wisdom...
I thought roses were red.
Are they really? Violets are blue, and I am angry because I am a Jew. God damn it.
Mention Margaret Tietz.
Well, we got more. What do I... Oh! You know that this is a Jewish publication. Because the commercials, the advertisements tend to be a little different than what you would get. I mean, some of them are kind of the same. Floors for life. My God, you commit to a floor for life. You also have, what else? You have some advertising that is kind of like advertising everywhere else. You've got, that wouldn't be, no, that wouldn't be either. Let me find, now I can't find one, of course. Go figure. I'm trying to do something here for your entertainment. Look, it's the marriage workshop that works, featuring Shandy Bilgray. So if you're having troubles in your Orthodox or your Jewish marriage, this is a place. Look, even that is not so different from Jewish dating sites and so forth. But only a mildly secular Jewish newspaper would have. I don't know why the page didn't stay. Oh, here it is. Only a secular Jewishish newspaper would have an ad like this, where the headline is not buy our product, it's not go visit our place, it's don't murder. I kid you not. There it is. It's law is one of the Ten Commandments, of course. Lo tirtzah, don't murder. And it's all about drunk driving, texting while driving kills. It has caused the death of many in the last few years. It's extremely, extremely dangerous, prohibited by law. And it also, in case you did not know this, you're putting yourself automatically into the category of Nezifa and Nedoi, excommunication by doing these things until these activities are stopped. Doesn't tell you who actually took out this ad, but there's a real ad. I just love the idea that only Jews would begin an ad with "Don't murder," as if like people should need to be reminded in the newspaper. So, what else is in this? Just in case you're wondering, you can get 50% off Shabbos day wear. Night wear is more expensive.
The suit sale.
Oh, well, that's real. That you can get a good suit for $150 here somewhere. But I folded down some other things I did want to share with you.
No, you missed the page, Rabbi.
Oh, yes, I did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And let's say you're still sort of isolated. You want something to read, and you don't have the new the books that are coming out by John Grisham, and you don't have the new books by who else? Roberts, that person, and of course, who's that guy who writes a book every 10 minutes? What's his name? Well, there's Robert Ludlum, but no, the other guy. Something. He's on TV all the time.
Oh yeah, crime drama. Mitchell.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about, but you can read those.
Grisham.
Well, I said Grisham, but then no, there's that other guy. He puts his name on every book that's written out there.
He has a ghostwriter.
Of course, he puts a name on the books in tiny, tiny letters under his name. Because his name is Patterson?
Yeah, it's James Patterson.
James Patterson, yeah. So anyway, but, if you want some real best-selling authors, yeah, you're gonna get a copy of some of these here, including Honor Them, Revere Them, about the power of daily readings, The Rebbitzin, a 5,000-page history of Esther Jungreis.
Yay, I love her.
And my personal favorite there, Pnei Menachem, the story of this gorgeous rabbi there. Stories of deep caring, empathy, and insight, which are, by the way, anathema to yours truly, Rabbi Saul Solomon, of Rabbi Pinchas Menachem Alter of Ger, written by Abraham Birnbaum. So if you need these books, 25% off all titles, and you can find them at artscroll.com. So you're going to want to do some shopping there. Or, I know you've been waiting for this, ladies and gentlemen. I know. It's the annual Tzitzis. There's nothing funny about this. Why about that? The annual Tzitzis and Yarmulke sale. Going on June 14th to June 30th at Judaica Plus. Look at it. Oh, look at the golden, gorgeous yarmulkes. And buy 3, get the 4th for free. You know there was some arm twisting with that because being a Jew, I know you don't want to give away anything. They're not going to do 2 for 1. That's just craziness now. But yeah, if you need some tzitzis and some tzitzis to distribute at your next bat mitzvah.
Sample.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I have. These are phylacteries. These are the tzitzis. These things, the little hangy downy things. They don't mention phylacteries. If you want to practice phylactio on another human being, but that's what this is. Yeah. I believe they have these, but they're not on sale. And plus, you can get these at Sam Goodies if you really want to. So anyway, moving on to more of this newspaper that we have in the 510. Do I have any more to share with you? I think that's about the last.
Back cover.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. And remember, if you want rehab with results, Margaret Tits salutes our caring staff and everyone on the front lines of our fight against COVID-19. We're here for the community. Rehab with, not just rehab, but rehab that works. There she is. She's rehabbing. And I thought it was drugs. But this guy has taken so many drugs, he's on a walker. Look at that. That's terrible. He goes to Maggie Tits. And she helps him, as she has helped so many people. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what a fantastic newspaper this is. Is there anything else? I didn't fold down anymore, but...
Show them the sale. The suit sale.
I can't really find that yet, but I can find some other stuff. I wanted to show the camps. No, God forbid, not the Esther Youngrice type camps. But if you want to send your children, they have Hebrew day. Oh, I forgot him. How can I forget him?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, outgrew your suit, waiting for stores to reopen? Amazing pre-Pesach deals. They're way pre-Pesach because Pesach is about 11 months away now. But here he is. Here they are. They're fully stocked. As you can see, he's fully stocked in that shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Men's suits only $148 to $350 here. And by the way, you can find them in Baltimore, Brooklyn, Chicago, Cedarhurst, Lakewood, Muncie, Toronto, and LA. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to go to Suit Central and suit yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, can you see why in this time of turmoil I get so much joy from reading the Jewish Home newspaper? So whether you're Jewish or not, you can keep a Jewish home yourself. It just means try and be kind to those around you, even when they annoy the shit out of you. Try and do a little something healthy for yourself, even though you're sitting there eating the nachos and the cheese doodles. Have one less cheese doodle, just one per day, and see where that makes you. Probably irritable, but you can try it. And just, I'm not saying you have to be religious or spiritual, but you can commune a little bit with God. You can look around the world in this early summertime, and you can see what's going on in the world. And the president, and the riots, and the people, and the protesting, and you can just take a moment and reflect and meditate and look up at Hashem and go, what the fuck? What, are you dead? Where are you? What's the matter with you? And either God will strike you dead, or maybe you'll get an answer, or maybe you'll just feel better for getting the rage out, which is what being Jewish is all about. And to show that it doesn't have to be only rage and horror and anger, I'm going to play something Jewish for you. This is a singer of sorts that I discovered just this week, even though this was recorded about 50-something years ago. A man, a nice Jewish man, a successful businessman, in fact, with coin-operated machines all over the country, who was brought by a relative into a recording studio because he loved music just that much. And he wanted to share his love of music and love of singing and his great ability to sing. Some of the standards of the repertoire, including Old Man River and tunes like that, of the Rodgers and Hart and that sort of canon, plus more contemporary songs of the 50s and 60s, including a number called Yodel Blues. So if you're feeling blue, if you're depressed and down and worried and anxious as all of us are, take this one moment and listen to the joy of this man singing. His name is Sam Sachs, and he shall sing Yodel Blues for you as I take leave of you on this Shabbos morning and bring Dave back to the program. Ladies and gentlemen, turn that frown upside down, right? Turn that hatred into love, because just for this moment, it's Sam Sachs time. And shalom.
The Yodel Blues by Sam Sachs. Way up in New York City, they talk a different style. So busy making money, they ain't got time to smile. It was a doggone crowded, I felt an empty bed. I came back home from Texas to get a feather bed. Oh, diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo. The sweetest hall I ever knew. Diddly-diddly-diddly-doo, diddly
I've been torturing my wife with that number all week. I don't know how I missed that in all my 56 years on this planet of listening to outsider music, of hearing Erwin Schuss's show on WFMU way back in the day of incorrect music, and knowing people like Shuby Taylor and Florence Foster Jenkins and our good friend of the program, our Paul Schlosser, and yet somehow I missed Sam Sachs and his one album, Singing Again, Sam. You can find it on YouTube. You can find the entire 22-minute album. I commend you to it, not immediately, because I want you to keep watching this program, but if you want to hear the many splendid song stylings of Sam Sachs, S-A-C-K-S, after the show's over, please do yourself, I hesitate to call it a favor, but I guess that's what it is, Sam Sachs, Singing Again, Sam, including the great Yodel Blues. I may end up playing that 1 or 2 or 10 more times during the progression of this program. This program being Dave's Gone By on this June 20th, first day of summer 2020. My darling wife is here with me, as is Potato. It is our 751st episode of the program. We're calling it In Sum, because it is summertime, summertime, summertime. And we still have so much more to do. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We've got, oh my God, our Today, Yesterday quiz as well. And we never did get to Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
No.
So why don't we do just a little bit of that? You need, wait, your instruments are up there.
Okay, let me get my tea. I'm ready.
So, Greeley Crimes and Old Times is based on a column, there's a lot of newspaper talk today, but a column in the Greeley Tribune newspaper, where Joyce and I used to live. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
It's a real actual newspaper that serves the northern Colorado Weld County community. One of the great things about it, and there aren't that many great things about it, but one of the great things is that they have a weekly column called Cop Log, which takes public domain information, public information about phone calls that come into the police department locally. And these aren't the scary, real, terrible criminal ones. These are the ones where people notice something bizarre happening in town and want to let the police know about it. We call that, well, the Tribune calls that Cop Log. We mix it up and call it Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, la-la-la-la-la. Because what was happening is, unfortunately, the Tribune has had to furlough some of its part-time writing staff. So there was another column in the paper that dealt with things that were in the newspaper 100 years ago in Greeley, Colorado, and unfortunately, that column is temporarily stopped. If you want to hear about that column, remember just to go into our archives and find the Greeley Crimes and Old Times from a year or 3 or 4 years ago, and you can hear it there. But for now, we just have the Cop Log, but we're still calling this segment Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Look at all the people that just look at this.
Well, welcome. A lot of people...
this isn't the one.
Yeah, look at all those folks who are tuning in to Dave's Gone By. Welcome to you. And it's perfect timing, because we're about to start Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Are you ready, dear? Police responded to apartments on 24th Street where a caller reported a man standing by a trash can. When the caller looked at him, the man threatened him in Spanish. So, I guess don't look at people who are standing next to trash cans.
Of course not. That's rude.
Is it really?
That's rude.
Huh.
That's rude.
But if somebody invites you by looking strange, and they're by a trash can, and you're thinking about looking at them, how can you refuse?
Uh-oh.
I needed a thing for that!
Only said, what do you mean there aren't many good things about Greeley?
Well, let's face it. So since Joyce and I moved, they lost 2 good things from Greeley. Anyway, now this happened at 3:15 a.m. Police responded to suspicious activity on 4th Avenue. A caller reported 2 women fighting in her yard.
Hold on, wait.
There you go. The caller said that the women looked, quote, cracked out. Not on crack.
How do you look cracked out? Like, what is that?
Not that they were cracking up, but they were actually cracked out. What a great phrase.
I like it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, speaking of someone who is close to cracked out, a very drunk caller.
Oh, wait. Here's your favorite sound. Let me find that. I gotta find your favorite one.
Do that. We're getting good with these. A drunken caller at a hotel on 29th Street wanted to speak to an officer about a guest in the hotel and was mumbling about a teddy bear. I don't know, I've never been drunk, but I think I would mumble about a whole bunch of things, not necessarily a teddy bear.
Yeah, but maybe when you're drunk, you're nostalgic. Some people, when they're drunk, they're very melancholy, and they think about the past. So maybe they miss their teddy bear.
Oh, that could be. Okay, fair enough. Now, this is the whole opposite thing of teddy bears. A caller was worried about 3 white buses, because, buses aren't allowed to be white now, full of people in riot gear in a parking lot on 30th Street. What do you think it was?
It's a drill. It's a training drill.
No, not quite.
It's a softball camp.
No.
It's
full of people in gear. Remember who are wearing?
It's probably just police going to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes. No, it was COVID-19 testing and normal bus transports. Oh. So there's just all these people in masks and gear, which probably look like riot gear. Yeah. Police also responded to. Whoa.
Sorry.
There's just 10 hour Dunkin' Donuts there. Police responded to a 60-year-old man in a convenience store on 9th Street. He was doing karate and begging for money.
Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta find something.
Now, see, I don't see what the problem is with that. I mean, here's a 60-year-old man. He's in a convenience store. Yeah. So if he's doing karate, that's only appropriate because, well, he just went chopping. I said he just went chopping. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. Police responded when a woman began following someone whose dog peed on her lawn. The woman followed this other woman for 30 minutes, yelling and screaming. So, how far would you follow someone whose dog fouled your lawn? Would you follow them for a good half hour?
I would not follow someone whose dog befouled my lawn. I would just take a picture and then tell the police that the dog has pooped on my lawn.
Is that illegal?
Yeah, you can't poop on people's lawns.
Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
You should know that.
Dear, I'm trying to save our toilet. We don't have that great water pressure. I guess other people's lawns is not the way to do that. Now, one of the great things about Greeley Crimes and Old Times is that even though we don't have any old times at the moment, we do go far afield. We do take 1 or 2 stories every week and move away from Greeley, Colorado to find stories of oddness in other places in the world. Well, we have. Ladies and gentlemen, first we move to not so far away from Colorado. Well, far from Colorado, not far from where we are. New York City. This is a report from the New York Post. It didn't take long for New York City life to get back to normal. That's me paraphrasing here or just parentheticizing here. A 28-year-old man just wanted to know why a group of people in the Bronx were eyeing him aggressively.
Yeah.
The response? He was disemboweled.
What?
One of the goons slashed him in the stomach.
What?
Yes. A guy was standing kind of minding his own business and wondering why people were staring at him.
David,
Here, I'll tell you the whole. Yeah.
Not for nothing. Okay, so now I have walked in Greeley, Colorado. So to address Nomi,
Yeah.
I have walked in Greeley, Colorado from through what's the park?
Glenmere.
Glenmere, with a hole in my gym pants and letting my betonia stick out, and I didn't know that, but that was a hole in fabric. If I had a hole in my body wall, I think, wouldn't you feel it?
Of course he felt it. What are you saying? They attacked him. This man was being stared at, and they disemboweled him. They cut him open.
I thought he was first being stared at because he was
disemboweled. No, that would be great. That would be amazing. It's like, sir?
He was like disemboweled, and like people were like, you know, yeah.
We don't mean to be insensitive, but your intestines. The man walked up to a group on Washington Avenue in Marsania about 1 a.m. and asked them why they were looking at him. Police said. That's when one of the group pulled out an unknown object and stabbed the man in the lower abdomen.
Do you think he said it that way? Like, excuse me, friends, why are you looking at me?
Pardon me, sirrah.
Yeah. I don't think that was the.
Why are you fixing your oculars on my midriff?
Yeah, I don't think that was. No, I think it went down a little bit more.
Yeah,
rough,
causing the man's intestines to spill out. Sure. Yeah, he stumbled over to a nearby firehouse where they called 911.
Did he live?
The eviscerated man was taken to Lincoln Hospital in stable condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know that.
Well, stable. So
I hate that we never know the outcome.
I know. Well, stuff came out, that's for sure. Well, you have to admit.
David, people are eating breakfast or lunch.
You have to admit, after they cut him open, to get to the firehouse in that condition was a gutsy move.
Look at the dog just used my pants as a napkin.
Oh, well, there you go. Foul to the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's one Greeley elsewhere, or old time elsewhere here on Dave's Gone By. We have another, and I'll tell it momentarily.
Let's move. You tended to pixelate a bit. Maybe stay still.
Oh, okay. I'm trying not to move too much. Remember the woman who followed another woman whose dog was peeing on the street? Same day. Same place.
Yeah.
A business owner on 10th Street called to report rumors that rioting... Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote this wrong. Forgive me. Forget the woman with the dog peeing. These two things happened on the same day in the same place.
Which makes sense. How things happen.
Okay. A business owner on 10th Street called to report rumors that rioting and looting were planned for later that night downtown. Okay? Yeah. That was 9:30 in the morning.
Good to know.
6:30 in the morning, a caller near 59th Avenue reported cattle in the road.
You know, there's no riot that when you involve cows, it's just crazy.
I mean, it's just not like, oh my God, there's going to be a horrible riot, and then it's like, there's cows in the road.
And there's a bus full of people getting COVID tested. Oh my God!
Maybe they didn't mean riot. Maybe they meant stampede or something like that.
I can pull a picture of a cow.
And police responded to a report of a loud party on 11th Avenue. Big surprise. The caller assumed that there were drugs and alcohol due to, quote, the whooping and hollering.
Whooping?
What is it? Is it 1919 or something?
I like the whooping.
Whooping. You know this caller's like 87 years old. And it's like, whooping and hollering and hollering.
Little dancing cow.
Oh, yay. Oh, yeah, that's music to my ears.
That's cute.
Let's do one more Greeley elsewhere, though. We're going to go really far afield for this one. And that is our goal. Because we go all the way to Mexico. This is absolutely amazing. I know that I mentioned that after the show I want all of you to go and listen to some Sam Sachs. But you're also going to find this video. Alexander Martinez was a 16-year-old boy whose death has been blamed on police.
Wait, hold on, wrong one.
That's if they're using rubber bullets. That's more like it. He was one of many police shootings of unarmed teens in Mexico. That is not the great part of this story. At his funeral, they put his coffin on the floor.
Yeah.
What do you think his teammates on his soccer team did?
Well, they kicked balls into it.
This is not amazing.
No, I think like sports people have like we learned that if someone who owns bees dies, you have to tell bees they're dead. So sports teams, I think that's like a send-off. They
set up
yes.
a goal net.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And they took a soccer
was he
ball.
A goalie?
I don't know if he was a goalie or just a team member of the soccer team. His teammates stood around his wooden coffin, and one of them kicked a soccer ball off the coffin.
I love it.
And banked it into the net.
David, we know somebody was buried in a Merlin outfit, so who are we to judge?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, and basically the thing was, because it was a bank shot, it allowed the dead guy to have one more goal, because the goal was off of him.
But that's the final goal, your golden,
Now, the magnificent thing about this is the video is like 15 seconds long. At first it's hysterically funny, but by the sheer absurdity of having a funeral where there's people standing around a coffin, a closed coffin.
Are they wearing suits or are they wearing their outfits, their team outfits?
I think they're in regular clothing. But then they kick a soccer ball at a coffin. The ball goes into the net. And they go, yay, and they start cheering. And then 2 seconds later, they go to they all crowd around and start hugging each other.
Yeah, of course.
And it's the saddest thing you've ever seen. It goes from being hysterically funny to absolutely
because you're happy that you got to send off your friend, but you're sad that your friend is dead, of course.
But I have never gone that quickly from laughing to crying in my life, seeing not at the theater.
Yes, you have. When you finished eating your candy and you're sad that it's in your tummy and you can't eat it.
When I have that last bite of a Three Musketeers.
You do when you poop all the time.
I know. When I go to the bathroom and I poo, I'm so happy, and then I have to send it off and lose it forever. And that makes me sad. But even that takes more time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's longer than 52 seconds.
And John and Bill and Peter and
But if you get to see that video, look for Alexander Martinez and put in soccer under news and look for the video of that. It's absolutely extraordinary. You think it's going to be this hilarious, ridiculous moment, which it is. It's completely absurd. And then it just really is sad and tragic. It's quite an amazing video. And I think that's what I will leave you with, because isn't life like that? Isn't like that mixture of, from 1 second, you're laughing hysterically, to crying hysterically, to pooping, to laughing hysterically, then crying when you let it go, then laughing and crying again. As Joni Mitchell once said, laughing and crying, it's the same release. But I will release you now from Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
What, honey?
Ooh.
What?
I'm not getting audio. Oh, I know why I screwed up.
Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yippee indeed. You're watching the 751st episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. So, what more do we have to do? Oh my God, we've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We've also got, what else do we have? We have our Dave's Big Dictionary segment to do. And what I would like to do, even though I don't see my cousins here, but I noticed that Lisa from my writers group has been...
I can't see, I'm in the...
Okay. Yeah, no, but Lisa from my writers group has tuned in. So if Jeff and Cynthia, or as we like to call them, Sif, want to tune in, try and do it on my regular thing so I can see it rather than on any watch parties or any outsider thing. So I can see. But Lisa, if you're there, and she says, hello, Dave and Joyce. Hello, Lisa. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe you want to play, or everybody can play. It's our Today, Yesterday quiz. And what that is it's trivia questions all about today, June 20th, in world history. I'm going to ask you some trivia questions, and your job, should you choose to admit it, is without Googling or Binging or anything else, come up with the answer from your own little noggin. And usually we have Cynthia and Jeff chiming in and typing in the answers if they think of them. Sometimes they're right. Most of the time they're right. Sometimes they get it wrong, but instead of beating the clock, you're trying to beat them. Well, they don't seem to be here. So Lisa, maybe you want to play the game and type in the answers. Anybody can, to try and be the first to chime in with the answers and play against us, play against the house, if you will, in our Today, Yesterday quiz. Yes, you got to find the answer by yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because it is the Today, Yesterday quiz. So, Lisa, are you there? I'm hoping Lisa will chime in, but if she doesn't, whoever wants to, and you can play against Joyce and me, I have our important music to play. I've even got our, well, where's my prop? Where's my all-important super, oh, here it is. Our $3 million prop, ladies and gentlemen, we hold up when we ask a question. Here we go. Today, yesterday, 1837. So this happened on June 20th, 1837. King William IV of England drops dead. His successor rules for 63 years until just past the turn of the century. Who was it?
I know what it was.
Dum dum da dum 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 da dum 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 dum. Can you be the first one who chimes in with an answer before I start doing the chiming in? And we prolong these a little bit because I know we're on kind of a delay. So I'm waiting to, you have to hear me, and then I have to wait to hear back from you. But I'll read the question again. The year 1837, King William IV of England dies. His successor takes the throne and rules for 63 years until just past the turn of the next century.
You know what it is?
Who was it?
It was Cardi B.
Was it Cardi B? No. No, it's a... I'm trying to make... What was...
Was it Alex
Oh, nor
Trebek?
was it Cardio.
Was it Alex Trebek?
No, it wasn't Alex Trebek, ladies and gentlemen. Who could it be? Who... And I'll give you a hint. Well, do you think you know the answer, babe? Before?
I don't know. Henry the Great.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't another Henry or another William. In fact, it was someone... Now for someone completely different.
I don't know.
And I mentioned that even that Monty Python bit was a clue because this person was very often using Terry Gilliam cartoons as one of the cutout images in the show.
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
No. I'm going to give a countdown until I haven't heard from anybody, so I'm just going to assume that you're playing along at home. And the answer is, it wasn't a king. It was...
Oh, Prince, before he died?
Nope.
Queen? Oh, Queen Victoria.
Bingo!
You should have said she loved corgis.
Well, I don't want to say it was a she because that would give it away pretty
You
quick.
should have said the monarch loved corgis.
I didn't even remember that. So yes, and even though her name wasn't Bess and she loved corgis and Bess, but don't even know what that means. Yes, the answer: Queen Victoria, who ruled until 1901. I believe she took over for King William. We move on. Several years hence, the next question, 1868 is the year. Huh? Oh, snack time. President Andrew Johnson, on this date, June 20th, 1868, President Andrew Johnson bought something for $7 million. What was it?
Oh, I know.
Don't say it.
It was the rights to Hamilton.
You know, I think Disney paid $20 million to Lin-Manuel Miranda for the rights to Hamilton. But no, it's not the rights to Hamilton. On this date, in 1868, President Johnson bought something for $7 million. What did he buy?
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay, you can mouth it. What? No. Nope. Is nothing.
David.
Nope. Nope. Remember, that says quite a bit of money back then, but not as much as it was worth. I'll give you a hint. Here's the hint, ladies and gentlemen. He bought it, and Russia was kind of glad to get rid of it.
Oh, Boris Yeltsin. Oh, Stoli.
He bought 25 gallons of Stoli. No, that is not correct. Oh my gosh, I haven't scrolled down. We have an answer from Lisa.
Did I say it? She's probably right. What?
And Lisa said that Rich Lee, she and her husband are there. They're tuning in.
Oh, yes.
So,
yay.
So the answer from Lisa, she says a piece of Mexico. No. No, sorry, that's not it. But you're barking up the wrong, shall we say, tree, if you will.
Siberia?
Because Russia didn't own.
Not my Balkans. They didn't sell my people.
Not Balkans.
Not Siberia. Albania?
Nope.
Herzegovina?
No, you're cold when you should be a lot colder.
Colder than Siberia?
Okay, no, maybe not.
The Arctic? The Antarctica? The North Pole? Santa? I don't know.
No, they got the territory of Alaska. They didn't become a state yet, but
you're bad at giving clues.
What are you talking about? It's a real thing. It's more than a clue. All right, here we go.
I need to play Cluedo.
The year 1893. Okay, and Rich Lee. Okay, so Rich Lee, you'll do better on our next question. 1893. After an hour and a half of deliberation, a jury in New Bedford, Massachusetts, acquitted this young woman of double murder. Who was she?
Wait, in 1818?
The year, no, 1893. It took just an hour and a half of deliberation for a jury in, and this is sort of a clue, New Bedford, Massachusetts, to acquit this woman of double murder. Who are we talking about?
Was it the witch trials, David?
That's a very good answer, but no, much later than all of those.
Oh, 16, yeah.
You keep doing it. I'll give you a hint. Oh, I gotta keep scrolling down.
Play your xylophone, honey. That usually helps people.
Oh, by the way, Rich got Alaska, so Rich got that one.
You can see Russia from Alaska, right? Didn't we look at
I can see Russia from my window. I can. So,
I can see the Borscht Belt.
yeah, I gotta keep. The problem is it doesn't scroll down automatically. I gotta keep remembering to scroll down.
It's work, honey. You gotta work.
True.
Do it, honey.
So come on, Lisa, and also, do you want to take a stab? Do you want to take a stab at this question?
It's Lizzie Borden.
Boom! Oh! You beat Rich Lee. Yes,
Lizzie
it was
Borden
indeed.
had an axe. Gave her parents 40 whacks.
And when the job was nicely done,
she gave them a 41.
She gave her father 41, or mother. Yeah.
She's she's badass.
There we go. Lizzie Borden pulling axe again. Lisa, I'm sorry, Joyce beat you, and I know there's some kind of delay, but yes, that is the correct answer. It was Lizzie Borden, who, by the way,
Actually, I will share my winnings with them, which is
yeah. All. What am I giving you for winning? I don't even know.
Nothing.
Yeah, basically. Well, but the interesting thing is, or at least according to Wiki, she did not give her mother 40 whacks and her father 41. She gave them each like 10 or 12 apiece. And remember, she was acquitted.
Well, what was the story? Were they abusive to her? What's the backstory?
Yeah, nothing of the sort. It was just like she discovered them lying there, chopped up, or not hacked, just whacked.
That's like a Midsummer Murder Spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she lived she was never convicted. She lived quite a long time.
Did she kill again?
Yeah. We don't know if she killed the first time, but I'm thinking OJ did it.
I blame Lin-Manuel Miranda.
All right, moving on to question. Now remember, Rich Lee, you've got to move quickly on these because I'm also asking Joyce. Here we go. 1909 is the year. Born today in Australia, is this actor a swashbuckler and romantic lead whose films include Captain Blood, Santa Fe Trail, don't say if you know it, and
I don't.
The Adventures of Robin Hood. Name.
It's Spike Lee.
Was it Spike Lee? I don't believe it was Spike Lee.
What's the other one? John Burns? James Burns? Ken Burns.
No, it's not. No, this is an
the
actor.
only two filmmakers I know. Oh, Francis Ford Coppola.
No, is an actor, not a director. Okay, I'll
Sean Penn.
he's looking great if he was born in 1909.
He looks good, yeah.
He does look good. 1909 is the year. Born today, let me make sure that Richley hasn't answered yet. Australian born. A
The Crocodile Hunter.
No, but you're in the right country.
Steve Irwin.
It was not Steve Irwin.
Put a Barbie on a shrimp.
Yeah. No. It's kind of a shame that he was killed in a sting operation. Anywho, sorry about that. Born today. Swashbuckler romantic lead whose films include Captain Blood, Santa Fe Trail, and The Adventures of Robin Hood. Can you name him? We do have an answer from Lisa. Do you want to try?
No, I trust them. I don't know. I have no idea.
And the answer is, and she's answering in the Jeopardy way.
Oh, nice.
Where she's just doing the last name.
Yeah, you didn't show your question mark today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
See, that's why people are cued in for that.
The answer is, and she is correct.
What?
Robin Hood. Most people get it from Robin Hood. Errol Flynn. In like Flynn, we say. Yes, indeed.
Real? Was he real?
Yes, of course he was real.
Okay.
Unfortunately he was this dashing, good-looking actor. He was kind of being groomed to be the next Douglas Fairbanks, but kind of.
He likes egg creams.
Who doesn't love egg
Do you
creams?
want your egg cream?
No, sit. We'll play the game, and then after we'll.
Sure.
We move now to 1946 for our next trivia question in our Today-Yesterday quiz. June 20th, 1946. Happy 74th birthday to this television host who was born in Miami to Cuban parents. He hosted several home improvement shows, including playing himself on the sitcom Home Improvement.
Oh,
But he's still...
Mario Lopez.
No, it's not Mario. All the girls love Mario Lopez, yes indeed. But he is still most identified with this old house. Who is he? Okay. Well,
I know him.
if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning.
Is it Norm?
It's not Norm.
People are playing. Hold on.
Is anybody else writing there?
Bill Bradford said, finally got my act together.
My axe together? Get it? Was he born? Shame on you, Bill Bradford. Shame on you.
I gotta give him. What should I give him for that one?
Oh, is there like a barfing person?
No, there's
got my axe together.
I'm gonna do a. I did wow.
Okay, so we're waiting for an answer. I'll read the question again. Happy 74th birthday to this television host, born in Miami. He hosted several home improvement shows. He even played himself on the sitcom Home Improvement.
I know it is.
But he's still most identified with this old house. Hold on to it. I'll let you. I want to give.
Let Richley get it.
Yeah, I want to see if Richley can get it.
They will, because they're smart people.
Well, hon, they have an answer.
Okay.
I won't say if it's correct. What's your answer?
Bob Vila.
Yeah! Or, as I like to say, it is Bob Vila. Bob Vila is the answer.
Yay.
La 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 Villa Alegre. La 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 Villa Alegre. Okay, sorry about that. I do apologize.
That
no, I
was
don't.
very joyful. I like
It
that.
was.
That's spontaneous and joyful.
It was Sam Saxion almost.
No, you had
Doodly doodly
You
do.
had rhythm. You had rhythm. You can carry a tune.
I got rhythm. I got music. I got questions in our Today-Yesterday quiz. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh boy, here we go.
1948.
Couldn't we end on a high note where we both got one right?
You did. You got Bob Vila. You got another one right, too. 1948, a television show debuted live from New York's Maxine Elliott Theater.
Oh, God.
Well, it would eventually be called The Ed Sullivan Show. But that wasn't its original title for the first few years. What was? So multiple choice. Was it?
Tochi Yamaguchi.
Did you keep that video or is it gone?
I think I kept it.
Oh.
It's probably in a box downstairs.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Oh my God. No, it wasn't. What is? It was Shinji Tobuchi.
Yes.
Something Tobuchi show.
It was a video that his wife and daughter, adult child, filmed of him to just like
in Branson, Missouri,
to make him feel happy, but he had no talent. He probably rented the theater.
No, he was a very good fiddler. He was a Japanese fiddle player in Branson, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shoji Tobuchi show. Google it. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you a multiple choice on this. It debuted live, eventually being called The Ed Sullivan Show, because it was hosted by Ed Sullivan, but what was the original title of this program? Was it the CBS Variety Hour?
I like that.
All the Best? Toast of the Town? Your Favorite Stars?
Probably, I know which one.
Hold on. You are correct.
Yay!
So, well, let's give people a chance to chime in.
Come on, Richley.
Go Richley.
It's
Go
your
Richley.
birthday. Go Richley.
So before it was called The Ed Sullivan Show, was it called the CBS Variety Hour? All the Best?
I think it was called COVID Free Time.
Toast of the Town? Or Your Favorite Stars?
Or don't put that there.
That'd be a great name for a show. Don't put that there. Don't touch me there.
Don't put that
the Me
there.
Too era.
No, it could be for anything. Don't put that there. It could be for like, don't put your car in the driveway.
Yeah.
Don't put that on the table. Don't put the book on the shelf.
I mean, there have been great titles already. There's been Just Shoot Me.
What
Great
was your
title.
favorite? What was your show? Like Greasy and Disgusting but Cheap?
No, that was a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do we have any? Come on, Richley. I can't.
You gotta scroll down, Bubba.
I am. Chop, guys. Come on.
Give them the choices, A, B, or C.
A, CBS Variety Hour. B, All the Best. C, Toast of the Town. D, Your Favorite Stars. I'm going to wait like 5 more seconds, and then we've got to move on with the quiz. So come on, if you're still playing. Otherwise, my wife has it. I'll let her answer it.
Every time you play the xylophone, the dog wakes up.
Oh, sorry, doggy. So I
like
don't.
This, like this, like. And then
I have an answer from the wife.
it's the letter of your name, Bubba.
What?
D.
No, that's not what you said before. I thought you said it was C. No.
No, I said D.
Your Favorite Stars?
No.
No. I'll give the one more time. Lisa says CBS Variety Hour. It was not. It was not CBS Variety Hour. It was not All the Best, and it was not Your Favorite Stars. It was C, Toast of the Town, which was hosted by Ed Sullivan. And then a few years later, it started in 1948, and then it took till 1955 for them to rename it officially the Ed Sullivan Show, even though everybody was calling it the Ed Sullivan Show from almost the very beginning. All right, we have 3 more questions in our yesterday quiz. 1967 is the year. Happy 53rd birthday. I mean, she's having her 53rd birthday now. Born in 1967. Mm-hmm. To this actress, whose extensive filmography includes, since we mentioned the letter D, includes these films: Dead Calm, Days of Thunder, Dogville, and Destroyer. Name her. So, well, I'll give you a little chance. Also, since we're on delay, I'll read it again. Happy 53rd birthday to this actress. Oh, good boy. This is fantastic. This is absolutely great, because when Lisa and Rich got the last question wrong, do you know what they wrote?
What?
Poop. Literally, a moment ago, they wrote poop, and our dog just pooped. and Joyce is going to clean it as we speak. Good boy. Good boy. Wow, it was a good one, too. It was nice and solid, just so you know. Anyway, waiting for an answer on this next question. Oh, we have an answer from Rich Lee. And the answer is richly deserved. 53 years old today is Nicole Kidman, star of Dead Calm. That's the first thing I ever saw her in. Days of Thunder with her soon-to-be husband Tom Cruise. Dogville, which is one of those dark Lars von Trier films, and a big box office flop from 2 years ago called Destroyer. Nicole Kidman, very happy birthday to her. And Lisa says, it gives me great comfort that she's almost my age. I'm actually older than her, which always gives me pause. But okay, moving on to our last 2 questions in our yesterday quiz. The year 1970, June 20th, 1970.
Okay.
Here's some more TV. We were talking about television before. After making appearances on the Andy Williams Show,
Yeah.
this friend of the Daverhood got his own limited run series. It was a mix of skits and guests and comedy songs befitting this star, who would go on to write such novelty hits as Guitarzan and The Streak. Name him.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah. So it's a friend of the Daverhood, someone who's been on... Hold on. No.
Oh, David.
No. My wife has guessed both Dr. Demento, Austin Pendleton, and I forget who they're... So it's neither of the above. It's a songwriter and also a singer. After making appearances on the Andy Williams Show, this friend of the Daverhood got his own limited run summer series. It ran like 7 episodes. It was a mix of skits and guests, the usual, crappy variety hour format, and comedy songs written by him. And he would go on to write in later years Guitarzan and The Streak. Oh. You saying, Richard saying, well, this one's easy. Okay, so they're saying it's easy. Hun, do you know how easy it is?
I do not.
Can you guess?
I have no idea.
Well, it was easy for Rich and Lisa because the answer was Ray Stevens.
Richly.
Richly, yeah, they got it right. They said Ray Stevens.
That's cool.
And The Streak, if you were alive when I was, and we were taking vacations in the car, and Dad had the radio on again and again, every station had the, oh yes, they call him The Streak. Look at that. He likes to show off his physique. It was all about the streak. There was a craze back in the mid-70s.
Yeah.
Remember on even the Oscars?
Wendy in her library in Gunnison, the students used to streak in the library.
Well, that's just cute. And they're young and hot. That's all right. But even on the...
in a mountain town, I don't know if they'd have razors.
In fact, there was that famous thing when it became fully cultural on the Oscars. Some guy ran across the stage, naked, and David Niven said, well, it's nice that he's showing us his shortcomings.
Oh! Didn't they do that for a while in like Mets games or wasn't there streakers on in baseball?
Yeah, there's this one woman who would run across the field and it was huge boobs and would just throw her top off and kiss the players until they arrested her.
Isn't that called a groupie?
It's called Why I Wanted to Be a Baseball Player. But Lisa says, yeah, that song was hilarious when you were 10 years old. It was never that hilarious.
Really like it?
But it's catchy. Also, Guitarzan kind of rocks. That's kind of a better song. We have one more question in our yesterday quiz, where we go to 1980. 1980 is the year. Making the jump from Saturday Night Live to the big screen, Jake and Elwood Blues are the Blues Brothers trying to save their orphanage. Along the way, legendary soul and blues artists perform in the film. Which of these legends did not appear in the original Blues Brothers movie? Okay, so this is a multiple choice. You've got to tell me who of these legendary artists was not in the Blues Brothers film. Was it Chaka Khan, Aretha Franklin, Cab Calloway, Stevie Wonder? Okay, so I'll give you a little time. Lisa is a real musical expert, Lisa and Rich. Let's see if you can get this one. It's our last question of our yesterday quiz. 1980, can you believe the Blues Brothers is now 40 years old, with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi playing Jake and Elwood Blues. Got out of prison, they want to make good, they want to help their orphanage, and so they go across country. It's kind of a road movie, and they pick up and see all these legendary blues and gospel and soul stars, but one of the following was not in the film. Chaka Khan, Aretha Franklin, Cab Calloway, Stevie Wonder. So, I'm going to give another moment or two while we wait for an answer. If you don't know, you can guess. I don't think I've ever seen the full movie. I was kind of bored by it when I was young, but apparently it's actually a lot of fun, crazy and messed up as it is. So, our little Blues Brothers question, let's see. I'll see if I can play Rubber Biscuit on this thing. Okay, I'm still... Don't make me do any more of that. What you want for no money? Rubber Biscuit? Bow, bow, bow. Okay, we have an answer from Lisa. Hun, do you want to take a guess on this one?
I do not.
Oh, okay. So, the answer is the person who was not in the Blues Brothers. Well, first of all, Aretha Franklin and Cab Calloway were showcased in very famous scenes in the movie. Their scenes are considered the best in the film. So they were in there. And Chaka Khan was the lead. She was the soloist in the choir at one point. So she is actually in the film. The person who was not in the film was Stevie Wonder. However, not that it's fair to lump all blind people together, but Ray Charles was. So anyway, the answer was Stevie Wonder was not in the Blues Brothers film directed by John Landis all those years ago. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our yesterday quiz for Saturday, June 20th, 2020, here in the Daverhood. Lisa, Rich, thank you so much for playing. I hope people at home were enjoying playing, trying to come up with the answers before they did. Joyce, I want to thank you for trying to guess some answers as well and to check on other people. So yeah, we do it every week. It's called our yesterday quiz. Are we done with the show? I know it's getting close to noon, but we're not close to done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more to do. We've got our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We've got Dave's Big Dictionary, where my word is carnal. Oh, good. Okay. So, hang with us. I know I said that we go from 9 until noon, or thereabouts, every Saturday on Dave's Gone By. Well, we get to a thereabouts portion pretty much every single week. I do want to remind you that if you want to contact me, well, notice how Lisa and Rich are doing it. They're just typing. They're just going on my Facebook page, so you can do that either during the show or leave me messages all week long. If you prefer old-fashioned email, remember that it's davesgoneby at AOL.com. DAVESGONEBY. davesgoneby at AOL.com. You can also check my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. That's Radio Dave, the number 2. And of course, I'm always pushing the website, the homepage of this program, davesgoneby.com. So why don't we move on a little bit and go for, I do apologize for this, but every week we do a play on words that's just horrendously egregious and shameful, and I do apologize for this. In fact, we were doing it years ago, and we stopped for the good of the nation, for the good of the soul of the country. I stopped making these bad puns. But then I started doing them again. I guess COVID brought it out of me, if you will. It's called The Wretched Pun of Destiny, where I tell a tiny little story capped by an egregious and horrendous play on words. I'm going to do it again right now, so please, if you're feeling great, if hearing Sam's sax filled you full of joy, if answering trivia questions made you delighted, this is going to bring you right down. It's the Wretched Pun of Destiny, all about false teeth.
The Dave's gone by, Wretched Pun of Destiny.
After debuting his latest short piece for piano, Serbian composer Milan Ristic is approached by a man in the audience who says, "I work for a dental supply firm in the States, and we want to use your music to sell our products." "Okay," says Ristic. "You mean in advertisements?" "No," says the man. "We have a copyrighted process by which we can insert a tiny music box into every set of false teeth that we manufacture. Anytime someone chews or smiles, they hear your song. It's not a song. It's an etude, sniffs Ristich. Etude schmetude. The point is, sign the contract right now, and you'll never have to work again. And your music will be heard in mouths all over the world. I do like the sound of that, quips the composer. Where's your pen? Just then, the orchestra conductor runs up to Ristich and shouts, Don't do it! Signing that contract will turn you into a slave. A slave? Says Ristich. Why? The conductor replies, Because it would be indenture servitude.
Oh, no.
We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the wretched pun of destiny.
What was that, honey? You wanted to hear Sam Sachs again?
Oh, no.
The Art of Blues by Sam Sachs. Way up in New York City, they talk a different style. So busy making money, they ain't got time to smile. It was a doggone crowder I found in Hampton there. I came back home from Texas to get a feather bed. Oh, diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, 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 the sweetest home I ever knew. Diddly, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly-diddly-doo, diddly-diddly, diddly-diddly-doo.
It grows on you like a fungus. That, of course, is Sam
Like
Sachs.
moss on a boat or like, no, like ivy on a wall.
It grows on you like lichen. Yeah, that's Sam Sachs, of course, doing yodel blues. Nothing like it in the whole world. Oh, good, I got Rich to laugh. I don't know if that was from playing Sam Sachs or from doing the truly wretched pun. Could have been that. Anyway, we're laughing all the way to the poorhouse here on Dave's Gone By every Saturday from 9 until noon. It's almost noon or thereabouts. So remember, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My wife Joyce is here. Potato is here. Our dog just pooped, so he's feeling really well. And it's always great and thrilling to have all you people, all you little people tuning in and watching and enjoying the show. Please tell your friends and relatives and neighbors and even enemies about it. Well, we still have our Colorado. What? What's the matter?
Bill Bradford said toast of the town. I'm sorry, Bill. Bill got them right. I wasn't looking. Tell Bill tell Bill that he got many answers right. And Bill Bradford deserves a mention that he did well in the quiz. Yeah. He was in the group. Tell him I'm sorry. I was doing something else. I didn't see Bill was answering everything right. He was getting right answers.
Sorry. Bill, here's the deal. What I would, if you remember, and please do remember that every Saturday when you tune into Dave's Gone By and we do this quiz, if you want to take part in the quiz, maybe come out of the watch party that my wife is kind of administering and just come into the main page and watch Dave's Gone By right from the Dave's Gone By Facebook page. And that way you can play against Lisa and Rich or sometimes Cynthia and Jeff or whoever else. Yeah?
To honor Bill, maybe you should send him the singing of doodly-doo, doodly-doo.
What? You want to hear Sam Sachs again singing? No, I will play again, but not immediately because we want to move on with the show. Our 751st episode on this, June 20th, 2020. It is time, oh my God, it's time, how am I going to get through this, for Dave's Big Dictionary. This is where I asked earlier in the program my darling and adorable wife Joyce to thumb through this dictionary because it was just a fun thing to do and put her finger down wherever it landed and go figure. I mean, last week was horrible. Last week she came up with like this rare, weird, exotic plant that I think of something to talk about for like 5 or 7 minutes. And I ended up finding something and went on for almost half an hour. That won't be happening today. But she got a good one this time. She picked carnal. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, carnal, which I've got, here it is. It's an adjective, of course. It means, I'm getting so old I got to read it from here. Here's the deal. In or of the flesh, material or worldly, It also means sensual or sexual. Ooh. So yeah, get the kids out of the room and bring the naked women in. But yeah, carnal is the word. So on Dave's Big Dictionary, I'll be talking about carnality. Extra, tell all about it. It's Dave's Big Dictionary. I will say that usually, if I'm talking about carnal, it's going to be all about sex. But maybe today it's all about sax.
The Art of Blues by Sam Six. Way up in New York City, they talk a different style. So busy making money, they ain't got time to smile. It was a doggone crowded.
All right. I'll stop it. Anywho, so carnality, man. Why am I going to be talking about this in front of all you strangers? Carnal. And as I mentioned last week, this is especially tough this time, or when I've been doing it now, because I used to be able to, in shows years ago, Joyce would pick the word early in the program, and then I would have musical segues to do, and there'd be pre-recorded interviews. So I didn't have to do them just on the fly and come up with something to talk about. But I kind of wonder, how are people managing without carnality for the past several weeks? It's like, I'm not talking obviously about people who are married, although even people who were married in the first few weeks of this whole COVID thing, if one had it or one was afraid of giving it to the other person, you kind of sleep apart and have separate beds and separate stuff. But what about people who just were going about their normal lives, dating, going out to clubs on Fridays and Saturday nights and getting laid, and then suddenly not?
Said, thanks for the tip. He's having fun.
Who is? Who says who's having fun? Somebody's having fun with this program. I'm glad. I know I am. But so I it's kind of, and of course there's all these substitutes. I mean, you can do computer stuff and Zoom stuff, and I guess you can letter write or read naughty books on your iPad. But how are we doing staying so physically unconnected with each other, especially in the first 2 months of this virus? For people who, especially like the New Yorkers that I know, where they didn't leave their houses or their apartment. You don't have a house in New York City, you have apartments. And maybe venturing to the supermarket once a week in a very scared kind of a way. And otherwise, not seeing family, not seeing friends, not seeing lovers, not being touched, because a lot of folks I know are either single or in their relationships where they don't live together. And I wonder how difficult was that to not have the physical sensation, even beyond sex, of just being hugged and touched, and the sensual feelings of that. Because as a zillion studies have shown, whether you're human or whether you're an animal, you respond very strongly to being touched. It's very different. If I do this to my arm, I'm like, oh, that's rather pleasant. If I try, I wish I had longer fingers, but if I could scratch my back, well, that feels really good. But it doesn't feel like somebody else touching your arm, running their fingers down your spine, scratching your back, and touching, of course, other places. So it's kind of like, and we even watched yesterday, in fact, a video on how to shampoo your dog, because our dog really needs a bath, and we'll give him one this weekend. Well, and one of the things they say, and we've heard, is that dogs love that feeling. They love that they don't want to get water around their eyes or their faces or their ears. But in terms of if you can calm them and if you can touch them, they love that feeling of just being rubbed and touched by fingers, by something else. So there's the, I guess the stuff that you're not taking into consideration for this whole pandemic thing, because it's all about hospitalizations. And it's all about, are you going to have trouble breathing? Do you have a terribly high temperature? Do you have to be rushed to the hospital? Do you have to be put on a ventilator? And we think much, much less of the mental health issues involved in isolation. of, you're not physically seeing or being touched by people, even to the point of not being jostled in the supermarket or on a Long Island Railroad
How many
platform.
times you jostled in the supermarket?
Not in the supermarket so much, but are you not jostled in Manhattan?
My dad used to say that whenever we went in the local supermarket, that one of the women would hit him in the butt with a shopping cart.
Oh, really? Yeah. There you go. So, do you maybe after months miss even that? Does it get to the point where
David, I don't miss it at all.
I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering about this feeling, because one of the good things, I've talked about this, of trying to deal with the pandemic is that we're in a society that has become accustomed and acculturated to everything being on screens in front of us. It's what they imagined in the 1960s. It's what Chaplin envisioned in modern times, when the boss would be talking to everyone on this giant screen on an early version of television, right? We're at the stage where everything is in front of us if we want it. Every song, every movie, every video, every book, it's there if we want it. If we want to virtually visit a museum, we can do that. Every experience is kind of recreated for us digitally. And of course, there are people who even have 3D for gaming and literally disappearing mentally into that world. Because let's face it, 80% of what we do is visual and mental. I apologize to blind people who may be, and auditory as well. So we can literally take a plane to Florence, beautiful Florence, Italy. And being there, okay, it's amazing. You see it, you smell it, you feel it. But after a couple of moments, it's still just, you're looking at the Ponte Vecchio, you're looking at a bridge. Okay, you're taking that in visually. How different is that from maybe after a while looking at a 3D fantastic?
Different.
Why?
Because when you look at something in 3D, when you experience something, or maybe virtually experience it, you have a 3D experience.
Yeah.
You want me to hold
But you can have 3D and 4D.
No.
It's on the thing, yeah. You have 3D and 4D. Is it so different to the point where we are now, where we're not looking like in 1920 on a black and white projection in a movie theater, and we're sort of experiencing it, but sort of not, where it's gotten to the point where we can literally be immersed in the world. Still, though, without that one sense, where our auditory stimulated, we can have smell put through, since scratch and sniff in magazines. We can have visual, of course, and I guess we can send in for things to taste. But the one thing that we're missing is touch. And I kind of wonder, how much are we missing if we're not getting that at a certain point? As opposed to if COVID had happened in 1847, or during the bubonic plague. What on earth? That when people really needed to be isolated, and there was nothing to do, because people couldn't afford Netflix back then. What could they possibly do? It does make me wonder, or if we are at the point, and they are developing stuff like this, where you could probably, and I'll bet that you could get some app on your telephone, and you flip to the app, and you put your finger like this, and you rub or scratch the surface of the telephone, and you have something implanted into you, where if you rub here, you don't need a back scratcher. It will literally, the sensation of having your back scratched will be affected by doing that. Where they're probably doing it now. They probably have the means by which to do that, and probably porn companies are figuring out ways where if you go like this on a computer screen or on a porn or on a telephone, and you put it in just the right place, you're going to get the sensation of being masturbated. How far away are we from that? And will we get to the point where we really won't need to be touched by other people around? I mean, I'm not talking about next year, but maybe 20, 30, 40 years down the line, where interaction with other humans, we won't be able to do it because of pandemics, which will sprout up every 2 or 3 years. But the next generation that's just being born now, let's say, or born in 20, won't even feel it. They won't even mind it. It will just be like second nature to them. It will be Soylent Green. It will be, I don't need, maybe the kid will be breastfed by the parent and held by the parent. But after that, just for fear of disease, nobody's going to touch that kid. And the kid doesn't need to be touched because it has an app that will allow it to feel physical sensation. It will have all the senses and can get everything coming to it without dealing with humanity. It won't need the carnal in some strange way. It won't need the physical, and the sexual can be gotten in so many different ways that it won't need to risk AIDS or COVID or herpes or syphilis or leprosy.
You have to socialize people differently because we grew up where you were touched.
Yeah. Or we don't talk that much about leprosy being so transmitted sexually. Maybe because if you have sex with a leprous hooker, it costs an arm and a leg. But you know, yes, I went there. The level of humor just dropped off, didn't it? I know. I'm sorry. I went out on a limb. What can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? I think that's all I really want to go talk about as far as carnality. I didn't really want to get into it, if you know, and I think you do know.
So Brad said, try years.
Oh, and
weeks without touch, years without touch.
That's what I'm saying. It would be impossible mentally for those of us now. But are we going to have generations where it's just going to be, okay, I've got everything I need around me, and I don't need another human. I mean, think of it. You're the one who's dealing with this in some level with telehealth.
Yeah.
We've gotten to the point where you can go to the doctor's office and you're not actually being touched by a doctor. They're pushing this.
It's perfect for me because I do not like being touched by a doctor.
Oh, depends on the doctor. But no, seriously, all these places are saying, well, during the COVID pandemic, during all of this, we want to avoid you going out. We want to avoid you in.
We just want to avoid you.
We don't want you in our waiting rooms. We don't want you. The doctor doesn't need, because they have the mask. And if we can see you and diagnose you without the doctor coming to you or you coming to the doctor, you go online. And I'm not just talking about mental health, which that makes sense. That makes sense if you can have a Zoom call or a WhatsApp call one-on-one with a psychotherapist or a therapist. I can see that. You miss a little something, but it's doable. You might even feel a little more open and comfortable talking about things if you don't have a person's eyes in the room kind of staring at you and judging you, right? But a medical doctor is like, I think I have appendicitis. Well, all right, hold your stomach up to the screen. How is this happening?
You don't hold your stomach.
Well, what do? They'll ask you, back in the day, the whole idea of a doctor, the reason you went to them, rather than asking like just someone else in your house, was they would look at you, they would look in your eyes, and then they would take their hands.
But David, now we have Google.
Yeah.
We don't need a doctor.
Joyce is saying now we have Google, we don't even need. Well, maybe that's what's being proved. Now, if 80% of the reason people go to medical facilities can just be like, oh, no, go look in your camera lens for 10 minutes. We'll talk. I'll see how your face is. Like if you're sallow, I'll see your looking in your eyes if there's anything yellow in there. I'll see if you're wincing in pain. You'll point to where you're hurting. You'll tell me what your symptoms are, and I'll go subscribe some medicine that can be sent to you. This is unthinkable. It still is kind of unthinkable and weird in a way for real medicine to be practiced that way, and not someone one-on-one with you.
What do you do if you're in the country and you can't access people? Sometimes that's
You die. That's what you did. 30 if you got appendicitis and you lived on a farm, you died. That's why people died when they were 40 years old back in 1827. Yeah? But I don't know. It's a very interesting, as I'm not the first one to say this, time that we're living in. I'm just glad that there's still some carnality in the world. I'm still glad that men and women, or men and men, or
That's
women.
not your word. Your word is carnal.
Oh, well, I can say carnal or carnal. Okay. I'm not going to add gewgaws to the word. I'm still glad that carnal still exists. It's still a need in human beings to pounce on each other and try to tear each other's flesh off.
That's disgusting.
Not if you do it right. But anywho, that was our word of the day from Dave's Big Dictionary here on the Dave's Gone By Facebook podcast, your programmio of the stream, with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wife, Joyce. Let's see, we've done so much on the show already. We're almost finished, but good Lord, we do have a couple more things to do. Oh, first of all, since you're here, dear, let me tell some jokes so I get this off my chest. Sometimes I'm not a joke writer. That's not what I do. Anybody who watches this show knows that I'm not a joke writer. So wait, I'm going to need your hey, where did the noises go?
Okay, wait, which one?
Oh, should I put them away?
Which one do you need?
Or I just need you to laugh uproariously for no particular reason
Where's the
at these punchlines. That's fine. That's good. Hold on.
What's the last one?
I don't know. It's all right. You can give me a wah or a.
Okay.
So back when I wasn't working as much, I started coming up with things that went into my head. These are not wretched puns of destiny. These are quicker than that and just as terrible. So, for example, if cavemen came from the Stone Age and dinosaurs died in the Ice Age, where do garbage men come from? The salvage. Get it? Get it? That's funny. That's comedy right there. That's great comedy. Yeah. I have another one. You heard this one. What do you call a goth line of clothing for big and tall men? Lurchandise. Oh, okay. All right. I'm trying. I love this one. What do you get when you add gorilla meat to noodles? What do you get when you add gorilla meat to noodles? You give up? Chimpanzee. I know. I've got one more. What do you get, speaking of doctors, what do you get when you cross a vampire and an optometrist? Count Macula. That's just, yeah, I know. That's just to prepare you for the downslide that is the end of the show. But we still have a little bit more. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned to do on this edition of Dave's Gone By. But before we get to it, I can get rid of that. Let's say hi to our friends of the Daverhood.
The Art of Blues by Sam Six. Way up in New York City, they talk a different style. So busy making money, they ain't got time to smile. It was a doggone crowder I felt in Hampton Bed. I came back home from Texas to get a feather bed. Oh, diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly, diddly-doo, diddly,
Yes, our friends of the Daverhood. Special music for that today. Friends of the Daverhood are people who have been on this program in months and years past. Some of them famous, some of them not. But we like to check in and see how they're doing because it gives us credit. We're proud that these folks have been on the show. For example, it's been a very, very rough year for our actor friend of the Daverhood, Danny Burston, who was on one of our Tony Award specials years ago. Danny Burston, he suffered COVID, almost died from it. His wife, Rebecca Luker, she was diagnosed with ALS, and she is dealing with that. So I do not wish their year on anybody. But I've got to wish congratulations to Danny Burston, who won a Drama League Distinguished Performance Award for his work in the Broadway show Moulin Rouge. So a little gleam of silver lining for this terrible year for him. And I hope everything goes a lot better. I want to let you know that today you can watch Yes, Reflections of Molly Bloom. It's a one-woman show taken from James Joyce's Ulysses, featuring the music of Paddy Maloney of the Chieftains. He is our friend of the Daverhood, and his daughter put this show together for the Irish Repertory Theatre. Go to irishrep.org to watch it. It got great reviews. I want to let you know also that today is the virtual premiere of musician Dick Hyman's Click Clock Tick Tock. Dick Hyman is like 90-something years old. He was on our show last year. Really great to have him on the program. So he's got this new work premiering. He's doing it digitally online. It was supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago, but when the riots, they moved it up. But it will be tonight. You can see it at Works in Process on YouTube's channel, Dick Hyman. I noticed I managed to go say Dick Hyman's name like 3 or 4 times without joking about it.
Good job, honey.
Thank you. Tanya Pinkins.
You're adulting.
This is my adulting shirt. Yeah. Tanya Pinkins is in Mrs. Warren's Profession, an online reading of George Bernard Shaw's play that's done on Stars in the House. It's this daily thing that Seth Rudetsky and his husband are doing to bring stars and theater and Broadway and plays to folks at home. So Seth Rudetsky, of course, is a friend of the Daverhood. We went to school together, and Tanya Pinkins was on our show many months ago. Go see Mrs. Warren's Profession. There's going to be a tribute to Neil Sedaka, and he will actually be online doing the intro to this musical tribute. It's happening tonight and tomorrow. You can find out all about it at stepinforwardnyc.com. It's some kind of benefit. Step in without the G. stepinforwardnyc.com. Katsura Sunshine, he was on our show a few months ago. He was doing his one-man show off-Broadway, Sunshine Rakugo, Japanese comic storytelling that not many Western people do. He was in the middle of it. COVID stopped it off-Broadway, but he's going to be doing it online between now and mid-September, I do believe. Or shame on me, or I might have screwed this up. Forgive me. I think I had this down a long time ago of him actually doing the show live at New World Stages, and I forgot to remove it because it's not. New World Stages is closed until at least September. So sorry about that. But check out Katsura Sunshine. He's on the web, Katsura Sunshine. We want to tell you that on June 21st, which is tomorrow, Dear Father, it's a Father's Day musical special with David Bromberg and Jorma Kaukonen that citywinery.com is producing online. Go to citywinery.com to see our 2 friends of the Daverhood. Neil Berg is also doing a Father's Day concert at 7 p.m. tomorrow live on Facebook. Neil, N-E-I-L, Berg, B-E-R-G. On June 25th, there's going to be a panel done by Theater Resources, which is called Life on Hold and What We Do in the Meantime. It's for theater artists to get together and watch a panel and chime in. Jim Morgan of the York Theater Company, our friend of the Daverhood, will be the special guest of the panel. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are posting many of their musical duets on their YouTube page. I want to let you know that Michael Artsis has a company called Be Terrific, where they put together a complete virtual production system for your company. So if you're tired of having bad and glitchy Zoom meetings, you're probably going to want to contact Michael Artsis at BeTerrific.com. Friday nights, Julie Holston, our funny actress friend of the Daverhood, is doing Virtual Holston, kind of an online variety show. And we don't get to see it live on Fridays. The archives are on YouTube. Look for Julie Holston. PBS is still showing the Gabriel family plays done by the Public Theater, written by our friend Richard Nelson, and in the cast our other friend J.O. Sanders. So find the information at the Public Theater website. Evan Seplow is the editor and founder of StageBuddy.com. Check them out for things to do in New York during COVID. Dr. Demento is still doing Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com. Stuart Brown has his soundsofbroadway.com website where he started doing these weekly quizzes about the theater. Some are a little more difficult than others. Check them all out at soundsofbroadway.com, a 24-hour website of show tunes. And finally, Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood.
The sweetest home I ever knew.
I told you I'd be playing that a lot. Diddly-do. We're diddly-doing the Dave's Gone By radio program, ladies and gentlemen. It's June 20th, 2020. We're almost finished with the program. But, yes,
people joining.
as promised and threatened. Yeah, the show was supposed to be over at noon, and we still have people tuning in. Well, thank you and welcome.
Joining in the show new.
You're just in time for the... I know.
Maybe they tuned in just for the Wretched Pun of Destiny.
That we did the Wretched Pun, and now we're on to our Colorado Limerick. Oh, yeah. Joyce and I lived in Colorado for about 10 years, and for no particular reason, I started writing these 5-line poems.
Influenced by Wendy, because Wendy is the pun master. Our friend likes to write puns.
I think this was before she joined the group.
I think you were going to go. We were all going to go to the Texas Punathon.
Yes.
That's what did. It wasn't like a pun. It was a.
But that's the Wretched Pun, and I was doing those years ago. This is the limerick. This is the color. It's got nothing to do with a pun.
Maybe
this is just
we
filth.
went to different towns in Colorado and you saw them.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought of one, and then another, and it was like potato chips. I couldn't stop, and I apologize. I apologize. I know. Daddy.
Just stop at one. I'll cut you.
I'm sorry I said the P word, potato. But, I'm sorry. I just unplugged my cord here. But,
I'll get it.
Thank you. No, I got it.
You want your drink?
No, I'm good. Because we're going to end the show in just a couple of minutes, but not before...
Put on your king hat.
Not before we do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And today, we're going to be going to Delta, Colorado. Didn't know there was a Delta, Colorado, but there is. We'll tell you all about it, and we'll do a joke about it.
Can you play the music underneath while you're doing it?
No, it's way too distracting. I'll just get up and start dancing. There is a proper intro for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. So every week we go to a different place in Colorado, and I do a terrible poem about it. Let me let you know that we're doing Delta, Colorado. It's a home rule municipality in central western Colorado. It's about 14 square miles and pretty big. It's got a population of 9,000 people, originally settled by the Ute Indian tribes. So they weren't old, they were youthful. Then the fur traders came in, gave everybody smallpox, the usual. The town was named Delta because at one stage it's got rivers in it, and 2 rivers kind of join. One goes into another, and that's apparently the delta of the place. It's known...
Sure it was named for Delta Burke?
Or Delta Dawn. No. Well, what is that flower she has on? Huh?
People are still joining in.
Good. Known for they've got a beautiful Egyptian movie theater there that was built in 1928 and renovated in the 1990s. It looks like an amazing place. They even have 3D. They renovated it again and added 3D capabilities to the theater. And they also have an old Spanish trail called Fort Uncompahgre that has remained authentic. So we've got an old fort there as well. It looks like a really kind of a neat place. The buildings that they've kept quite beautiful in Delta, Colorado. However, there's nothing remotely beautiful about our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. The last time I visited Delta, I grabbed a young lady and... I repeat, the last time I visited Delta, I grabbed a young lady and felt her. She got so irate and in such a state, it caused me to haul off and belt her. Now you can go off. Would you like to go?
There are no words.
There are no words.
Diddly-dee,
Diddly, 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 do. Diddly, diddly, do. Diddly, 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 do. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. I need to thank, first of all, Rabbi Saul Solomon for being part of the show and for gracing us with his presence, talking about the Jewish family home. What the hell is it called? The newspaper he was reading. He may do that again. That was kind of fun. But if you want to know more about Rabbi Saul, remember that he has a website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And the reason to go there is not just like a little bit about him. This has the audio and the transcriptions of several dozen of his rabbinical reflections, his little mini sermons. It also has 10 episodes of his wonderful Long Island cable TV show called Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Saul Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour, as well as his magnificent stage show. They recorded it off Broadway. It's called Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon. All the links, all the video at shalomdammit.com. Well, you know what? I'm gonna finish the show.
You're back.
I'm back. We had a little bit of
interruption.
A little videous interruptus here. So, but shalomdammit.com and Rabbi Saul's video feed, his Twitter feed is shalom. No, forgive me. It's at Rabbi Saul Solomon, at Rabbi Saul Solomon on Twitter, and then shalomdammit@aol.com if you want to contact him by email. Want to also thank so much for so many people for tuning in, for Rich Lee for playing our trivia game with us. I kind of miss
Bill. Who's the person?
Bill Bradford for saying hi and for everybody, even if you didn't type in. Eileen, all the folks who tuned in and I hope enjoyed the show. Please tell your friends, your neighbors, your grocer, your clerk, your tax advisor.
The butcher, the baker.
The candlestick. Do people still make? Yeah, I guess they still do make candlesticks. All of them. The Dave's Gone By airs every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts live on Facebook. Facebook archives the videos automatically. Plus, we take the videos and the audio. We archive them at davesgoneby.com. We archive them at castbox.fm as audio only for people who like to listen as podcast. And then we also archive them at archive.org and YouTube too. So if you're looking for episodes of Dave's Gone By and our interviews over the years, you can find them pretty easily on the web. But the best place to start is our homepage, davesgoneby.com. Write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com. My Twitter feed is RadioDave2. And what else? And again, you can also write to me just by leaving me messages right on the Dave's Gone By Facebook homepage that you are watching right now. So it also remains for me to thank ever so much my darling and wonderful wife Joyce for helping me with the program, for corralling the potato, for crowning me with love. Oh, I also got to give a shout out with much love to our respective Padres. Yes. So happy Father's Day to your dad, and with much love and health, God willing, happy Father's Day to my father, Philip. And if you want to hear the many times that my dad has been on this program over the years, he used to call in.
Against or for his will?
Well, no, when we were on WGBB.
He's a night owl. He used to stay up late.
Yeah, in some of those later years, we do our show from 10 to 11 or 11 to 12. And if the people didn't come in to do the overnights, the gospel show on that station, usually I was co-hosting with Jeff, and we would stay there. We'd just hang there for an hour or two or three, goofing and playing music, and Dad would call in. And those were some of my favorite times. We just talked to my dad. Again, if you want to enjoy some of those things from about 10 years ago now, or even 12 or 14, go to davesgoneby.com and just search for Philip Lefkowitz, and you'll find all those many times my dad has appeared on the program. Well, anyway, I want to thank one last time the folks at the Greeley Museums
Oh, yes.
for making me, unbeknownst to me,
I posted it in the chat. I'll post it in regular.
please, making me the face of Potato Day 2020.
Hold on, I gotta find it.
If you missed the beginning of the show, I was talking all about this. I had no idea, and then we just should figure out if they were going to have Potato Day in Greeley this year on September 12th. If they've canceled it, apparently it's still on. If you go to the calendar page of greeleymuseums.gov and you look for Potato Day, you'll see this fella and some information about that, which I'm couldn't be more proud. Nor could I be more proud than to end this program, as we usually do, with the Dave's Gone By theme. Dave's gone by, there goes the Daverhood gone by. So let me play it as I usually doodly doodly do.
The Art of Blues by Sam Sachs. Way up in New York City, they talk a different style. So busy making money, they ain't got time to smile. It was a doggone crowder. I felt an empty bed. I came back home from Texas to get a feather bed. Oh, diddly doo, diddly doo, diddly 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 doo, diddly 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 doo, 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 diddly diddly doo. The sweetest hall I ever knew. Diddly 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 doo, diddly diddly doo, diddly 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 doo.
And gone by. See you next week.